Live. What's up, baby? What's happening? What's happening? Mrs. Mac 10, what's good? Chester. Michael, where you been at, bro? We see you. What's up, man? Dr. David, what's good? Burnt Pizza Boy. Will Z, I see you. I'm working for you, Will. I'm working for you, Brody. Can you care where?
Now they can't hear me. Now they can hear me.
Yeah. Got you. Let's get these logos up here. Bam. Oh, man. What's going on, everybody?
Izzy.
You don't have no sound? Word?
Oh, no.
Can anyone confirm you ain't got no sound? What's up, Shannon? Oh,
no,
come on, Warren.
Never
Come on,
mind.
man. Warren got us on mute wondering why he can't hear anything.
Never mind. You know, it's funny. Who else does this? Maybe Miss Mac 10 may be able to relate to this. But sometimes, like, I'm going through the day or whenever, I'm like, damn, I just don't have any time. And then in my head, I go, no time. There's never any time. Do you know where that's from?
Saved by the Bell.
Ah, that's phenomenal knowledge. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so scared.
I hate that you hit the cadence and everything. That was their very hard hitting episode on drug use.
Caffeine pills.
Boy, you really tackled that shit, boy. Goodness gracious.
The caffeine pills. There's no hope with dope.
Oh man. Damn, man, come on now. Trying to prepare a backup graphic just in case things go bad with Jason.
Is 50 Cent still here?
Run Sacramento now.
Hey, my guy Rich out in Austin. Austin is a fabulous city. Has there been, I'm sure there has because you've been up and down the East Coast. Has there been any place you've been where you're like, I don't like it here. I ain't never coming back?
Yeah, like most of the state of Connecticut.
I've never been to Connecticut.
Yeah, not my favorite place.
Because I notice how I say, oh, I love that place. Everywhere I've been, I like.
Yeah, I'm sure there have been places I haven't liked. I can't think of any.
Bakersfield.
What is good, baby? Welcome in here to the Wednesday, August 3rd edition of D-Lo and KC. I'm Damian Barling.
Acknowledge me!
He's Kenny Caraway.
Yes, sir.
Acknowledge me.
I'm so excited.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm so excited. I'm so scared.
What's wrong with you? I hate that you. It really bothers me how well like you did that, and it really, really bothers me how well I know how well you did that. There's just so many things wrong. So many things
who doesn't
wrong
know
here.
that? Who is?
That's what we
is
said.
that-
It was.
Diana Ross. I'm so excited. That song they were singing.
No, fam, absolutely not. That was the Pointer Sisters.
That's right, the Pointer Sisters. I was thinking of the
what you doing?
The Supremes. That's what was in my head. The Supremes. No, it was the Pointer Sisters. No. Who's more famous for it now? Jesse Spanos or
the Pointer Sisters? The Pointer Sisters. Kenny, the Pointer Sisters are. My goodness, man. Matter of fact, go on timeout. Like, just the whole start of this show is just a massive party foul. Welcome in here to the D-Lo show. I'm so happy that you are. Welcome to D-Lo and Friends. Strange turn of events. Oh, for goodness sakes,
absolutely,
man.
The Pointer Sisters, absolutely.
Jason Reid, he's part of Anscape, and he wrote Rise of the Black Quarterback, which hit, say, bookstores. Your Amazon pre-order came through yesterday.
Shout out to Barnes and Nobles, though.
They still standing. They still strong. Every time I see one, it's like, really?
I get out to Arden every now and then and walk through Barnes and Nobles. I do not.
Absolutely. I do not get out there. I think there's one around this neck of the woods, but yeah, I believe bookstores should still exist 100%. I think their prices need to be a little bit more competitive, but bookstores should still exist. Rise of the Black Quarterback dropped yesterday. Kenny and I got a chance to read it over the weekend. I did a little cramming last night as well. And this is some good stuff, man. This is some good stuff. We're excited to talk to Jason. He's going to join us on the live stream. He's going to join us on the video stream, I should say, on twitch.tv/ESPN1320, youtube.com/ESPN1320. We'll talk about the book. He was also a beat writer for the Dodgers, LA Times, for 7 years. So it's a timely time for him to join us, as unfortunately, for the second time this week, we opened the show with the passing of just a certified legend, a titan of sports media, in arguably the single greatest to ever do the job that he has. Vin Scully passed away last night.
And he's one of those guys that when you hear that he passes away, you're just not expecting it. You feel like he's going to be here forever.
Even at 90, what was he, 94?
I think, yeah.
There's still that.
Be here.
It's not like his life is cut short, but there's still that moment of like, oh no. He's like Bill Russell. He was always there.
Yep.
You felt like he was going to be around forever.
I mean, as a Giants fan, and this is what I love about being a Giants fan and the Giants-Dodgers rivalry. You know, we obviously on the field and having fun, we don't like each other. But when you talk about the legends of the game, when you talk about Vin Scully, so much admiration and appreciation for what he did with Major League Baseball, the way he would handle that rivalry and how much that rivalry meant to him. You would listen to games and you would hear, you know, he'd be excited to call the games. He understood the weight of Giants Dodgers, and it always felt like a big deal when he was on the call. I remember when he had his last game and it was at Oracle Park, and 40-something thousand giving him a standing ovation because he means that much to the game, to sports. And man, what a legend. What a legend.
You get caught up in, Vin being the voice of the Dodgers, and then you realize, well, he also called the Mets Red Sox World Series where Buckner, the ball gets by Buckner.
Behind the bag.
He called the catch.
It's by Buckner.
He
looking. Clark caught it.
I love that you posted the non-NFL films version of that play, because I think it was only a handful of years ago that I saw that, at least in my current walk of life, that I saw that it at least for the first time in a place where I could remember it. And it looks so different because you're so used to seeing it's like the first, like the Craig Elo Jordan play.
Yeah.
like it was shot from, like when you see the angle from which it was shot, it looks entirely different.
Right.
But the camera
From the
view,
regular football angle.
right? It just like it all it just it's a completely different look. It obviously doesn't have the NFL Films look to it. And then you have Vin Scully's voice on it. It's I always appreciate that. And of course we get to see our brother in the white suit.
Hey, that's our guy.
Celebrating. That's our guy.
Right.
Absolutely. Celebrating that touchdowns with the rest of the faithful. But yeah, tributes just pouring in like all over the place, and rightfully so. Again, there's an art to, I think with we all strive to be compelling storytellers. That's what you do. That's what I try to do. It's what Jason Reid does. It's what James Ham and Deuce and Mo and Brendan Nunez, Sean Cunningham. We all try to do it in some way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. When you're calling a game, your job is you're an artist, right? You have to paint what you're seeing for the people who can't see it. And baseball is so unique because it's so slow. Mm-hmm. And you have to paint the picture of what you're seeing and keep the people who are listening updated, but you've got a lot of time to fill. And I think that's where people fell in love with Vin Scully so much. It wasn't his call of the Buckner player, the call of the catcher. It wasn't the call of Kirk Gibson's home run. It was everything he did in between. It was everything he did between the pitches, between the innings, between the plays, everything that he did while there was no motion in front of him. He was able to keep his audience captivated.
Yeah. And the even more impressive thing to me, when you think about what he did it all by himself in the booth. He was by himself, and he would tell these stories, and he would narrate the game and paint the picture of the game in between pitches, and just a vessel of stories, that had endless stories that, he would say on a nightly basis for those Dodger games. And that, when I was down there, I would watch the Dodger games, and, just a joy to listen to him. I love baseball. I love history. And to hear Vin Scully, on a nightly basis, that was a joy in itself. And he was the GOAT. Absolutely. And we talked about the great calls that he's had. And I don't want to say the greatest, but I mean, the Hank Aaron 715, he was on that call. So you talk about Hank Aaron 715, you talk about Game 6 World Series 1986.
He called games for Jackie Robinson. Like he called games for Jackie Robinson and Yasiel Puig. Like, and Clayton Kershaw and like all of the stars of today, but he called Jackie Robinson's games. Like that doesn't even seem possible. Like that makes you stop and do math. Like, how is that possible that he was on the call for Jackie Robinson and was calling games up until 4-5 years ago? That's just the math doesn't math on that one, but it's reality.
If I got my math right, 6 decades. He
feel like games. It's more than that. I mean, but again, I'm not going to try to do math.
Brooklyn.
Yeah, he was in Brooklyn.
And
like
he'd been in San Francisco and Los Angeles for at least 50 years, I think. By the time, so we're talking 60 plus years.
It's been it was a long time for sure, and just amazing, and that was kind of it's hard to find the positives in a legend like Vin Scully passing away. But again, like Bill Russell, these guys, their lives weren't cut short. You had 88 and you had 94. Like those are numbers I can't even fathom in my head. Right. I'm trying to think about 42, and these dudes are 88 and 94 respectively. And once that hurts to hear, the tributes start rolling in. Mm-hmm. I think this week, as sad on the surface as it has been, it's given us all the opportunity to really dive into the respective sports and their histories, the history of basketball and Bill Russell's impact on that, the history that Vin Scully single-handedly witnessed
Mm-hmm.
the Hank Aaron call, calling games for Jackie Robinson, the Kirk Gibson home run, Montana to Clark. I mean, and that's, again, it's just the tip of the iceberg of the events that he was a massive, massive part of.
Right.
It's the positive that you can take away from this week is that stuff has been at the forefront at a time where we're not glued, to the NBA. Even to a certain degree, we're just kind of slugging through baseball. Mm-hmm. We're just getting started in training camp and football. So nothing is really, really holding our attention. So the passing of these two legends has given us the opportunity to do deep dives into their career, to do deep dives into their highlights, to really soak in all of these different things that have been posted on social media over the past 36, 70 something hours.
Yeah. It had me thinking about, Dodger fans in Los Angeles or wherever around the country. The majority of them, all they know is Vin Scully. And it had me thinking about the relationship between the baseball play-by-play guys and the fans. And I pray, and we're long way from this, but Kruk and Kite. I remember Hank Greenwald, Ted Robinson was there for a little bit, but for the better part of 30 plus years. For almost all great memories that I have for Giants baseball, it's Kruk and Kite. Yeah. And that's the symmetry that baseball fans particularly have with the guys who are there with you every night, every single night. And
I do think the relationship between a play-by-play announcer on the radio is different than the one on TV, because you're captivated, I think, by what you're seeing. And I'm not suggesting you don't hear Mark or Kyle or any of those guys, but it's a lot different when you're listening to G-Man, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's a lot different when you're listening on the radio, because you're engulfed in the moment and you're listening to them tell you what's going on. And I'm with you in the sense that I think the relationship is different. So the passing of another legend, Vin Scully, we'll be able to talk more about Vin Scully when Jason Reid joins us. That's coming up at 1:15. We'll also talk about his new book, Rise of the Black Quarterback, which is on your bookshelves or your Amazon page. Now, we'll talk football as well when we return. I got some questions regarding the Sacramento Kings. We're just getting started, man. We got a lot to do here today. It's Stilo and KC, brought to you by McQueen and the Violet Fog, the smoothest gin in the world, handcrafted in Brazil. You're on ESPN 1320. There's no hope. We're dope. I think that's Brandon Tartikoff.
Wasn't he like the real NBC guy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No.
It's crazy that Versus was a year ago. I could have swore.
Dude, that's crazy.
I could have swore it was in July though, but I guess not, because it was during the California Classic.
It's August. Oh, you're saying you're saying a year ago today.
Yeah. I thought it was in July, but no, because I always thought the California Classic was in July, but I guess it was August last year. Because I didn't watch it live because I was at the game. I mean, Summer League was later too. Yeah, that would make sense. They moved everything back because of the.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It's a year ago.
I mean, Brian, I'm always down. Like that's nothing to me. That's nothing. Where we want to start? Why was Tori ever brought in? Is that where we want to start?
Oh yeah, Tori. Poor Tori. Yeah, she was useless. They always try to force a new cast member in there.
Not only did they try and force her in there, but Kelly and Jesse weren't there. The hell's that all about?
No, yeah.
Somebody give me the backstory to that. Who watched California Dreams though?
I remember that. Yep,
Sneaky,
I remember that.
Sneaky solid show. I don't remember any lines from there, but I'd watch California Dreams. Absolutely. Slater is a star 40 years later. Slater, Mario Lopez. I don't know how I feel about Mario Lopez. But Zach on Mixed Dish.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you watch that?
The dad. Of course I did.
I didn't get around to it, but I want to go back and watch it.
It's the worst of the three. Like
Yeah.
it's not bad. It's just it's not the best.
Ryan, what you know about that, Ryan? What you know about that hang time? Dick Butkus, Reggie Theus was second. Dick Butkus was the first year. And then Reggie Theus, Anthony Anderson from the start. She know about hang time.
Right. Man, I know I ain't getting no steak dinner with mine. That was KC only.
Nah, we going to get a steak dinner.
That's
when the
KC
deal
only.
gets done.
It's gonna be it'll be us only on our dime. Company ain't gonna be like, well, he ain't get that dude's a headache. He ain't getting a steak dinner from us.
No, we getting the steak. We getting the steak.
No tofu dinner for him. I ain't no little pasta. Everyone gets so concerned. Oh, can you eat? What can you eat? They got Brussels sprouts. They start talking to you like you're 5. They've got Brussels sprouts. Do you want some mashed potatoes?
They really did do that.
Was that good? Were your Brussels
really
sprouts good, D'Lo? and I don't volunteer how I eat to anybody I'm out to dinner with. They pry it out of you because you're scouring through the menu. And then they get like overly concerned about I was telling people start talking to you like you're 6 years old. Can you? Oh, they've got Brussels sprouts, Damien. You can have some Brussels. Do your mashed potatoes have anything in it that would hurt him? Can he have those? Oh, good. Okay. How is it? Is it good? Oh, good. How are your Brussels? It looked good. Your mushrooms looked good. Like, shut up. Enjoy your 8-ounce filet mignon and leave me the hell alone. Don't talk to me about this. Nobody want to hear that. Nobody want to hear that. What are you getting, D'Lo? Are you getting a prime rib? No, I'm gonna pick something else out. And you start asking the waiter questions, and then just everybody like freaks out with concern.
The funny thing about it is, I had never experienced that, and that's exactly what happened. I was like, oh, snap.
Yeah, man. It's a hard knock life. That's for sure. Thankfully, we don't have to worry about it this contract.
It's no. We worrying about it. It's gonna be a topic of discussion on the show when we talk about how they talked about D'Lo can get Brussels sprouts when we go get this done.
Yeah. So when Kenny signed his contract, he's like, let's all go out to dinner. Let's celebrate. Kenny's getting a contract. Jesse's getting this. Charlie's getting that. D'Lo ain't getting none of that. Hey, sign this. Get out. I still ain't had an email response. Joe ain't responded. Joe is like, our boss. So we've got our boss, and then our boss. Yeah. Our boss, he stopped talking to me like a month ago. Hey, what's the status with ... Hey, I just dropped about 800 on Art. Remember that conversation we had about Art? Ain't heard from him. Just left on red.
I mean,
maybe my email disappeared.
Am I got
They loved me. They loved me when my contract wasn't up. Oh, D'Lo, way to take the initiative. Now the contract is up. It just got buried, D. You know how it is, man. Just get buried in this. You know how it is, man.
Sound like a Living Color skit. Oh, man, you know how it is.
Peyton on point. KC, who's the guy you brought to dinner with you?
No.
Who's?
Hey, man, am I going to have to pull a Fred Warner? Start a fight with somebody?
Hey, Fred Warner. Fred Warner's trying to keep people motivated. Apparently, Fred Warner out here
around here.
He said Fred Warner essentially said, "I'm trying to make Brandon Aiyuk great." I love that.
Start a fight around here, man. Hey, do like Fred, man.
Sorry, I'll make my own Brussels sprouts. It's all right. put that tofu in the air fryer and keep it going.
Oh, it's gonna be lit on Saturday then.
Saturday we're gonna have some fun.
Yeah.
Put that on the expense report too. See how that goes over.
Oh, you can go to Nugget then. You can go to Nugget for that food.
Easy. I don't know if we can go that far. I'm still going to Food Max just to make sure this all works. Ain't nothing wrong with Food Max. But it ain't Nugget.
Food Max.
It ain't Nugget. All right, all kidding aside. You know we let you into everything that's going on. By the way, as much as I wanted to play this out till Friday, and then I had the idea, I was thinking about this morning. I was going to take my replica WWE belt, blow a kiss, and walk off the stream like Punk did in Chicago. The deal's been agreed to. D'Lo and KC ain't going nowhere. We're good. We're good. True story.
One more time.
True story. And y'all know how much we love wrestling. It was never really in doubt, but it was fun to, like, I knew it was going to get done. It was just a pain in the ass to get done.
Yeah.
But you know how much we love wrestling. Like, we got to play up we got to play up the angle. But the true story, like, they've been working on breaking your boy for the last, 2 weeks. We did a podcast yesterday that when the podcast ended, it was like, we ain't going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. Like that podcast we did yesterday on the cultural impact of Nipsey Hussle. Like I knew there was going to be a point like doing this podcast. And I told y'all when we started recording Corners of the Culture last week that I was nervous. Like it's not meant to be this radio show. It's meant to be something different. And it's going to sound different. Like everything about it is going to be different. I was like, it's not going to be the first one will be fine. But at some point, we're going to hit a stride. That stride came in episode number 2. And the second you and I disconnected, I was like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that's
we
that's
on.
it.
We on. This thing, I'm so excited about this venture. And not only what it is, but what is it's gonna do a lot for the whole city, to be honest with you. That's just my opinion. That's how I feel about it. Because we're gonna be doing our thing and they're gonna be like, y'all from where? Oh, okay. I see you.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna turn this on in the morning and be like, yo, what? Yo, oh, okay.
Oh man.
Oh no.
Paige Beckers tore her ACL.
Oh no.
Oh no. Come on, man. Oh no. She's out. She's out the whole year.
She ain't coming back this year.
That's the whole year. Oh, that is a disaster for women's basketball. Oh, that is tough.
And maybe this is me just not even like taking it as serious as I could. Just we've talked about this before, like ACL. Oh, damn, that's crazy. I'll be back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe that's where I'm thinking. But I was just about to say, she played her last college basketball game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think so. Man, that's tough. That's too bad.
I wonder if it was the same knee.
I feel more. Yeah, I'm admittedly just looking at a headline. I'm more concerned about the game. You know, I know she'll bounce back. She'll be fine. They've got tremendous trainers over there at UConn. She'll be just fine in that sense. She tore her ACL in her left knee. I can't recall if that's the same one she did before or not.
I feel like that's the opposite leg.
I'm gonna see if I can
I
take
feel
a
like it was
quick
her
peek
right
here.
leg that she messed up.
Hate to see that, man. Absolutely
Wow.
hate to see that. Sustained the injury during a pickup basketball game. Underwent an
Oh,
MRI Monday. Confirmed the injury. She'll undergo surgery on Friday at UConn Health. Boy, that's gonna certainly opens up the field a little bit. But man, I hate to read that
that,
about Paige Becker. She is a unique
that's
talent,
terrible.
man.
And you know how I feel about Paige and watching her. I love to watch Paige Buckers.
Yeah, she's bad.
I do. She
She
is
is
so
bad.
cold on the court, man. And like you said, I believe she'll bounce back. She'll be okay. But you just never want to see it. You never want to see it. You never know. I believe she'll be okay, but you never know how it's gonna go.
Same knee.
Yeah.
Good work by there, Jesse, to dig that up. Yeah, same knee as last time. Hate to see that, man. Hate to see that. She is a hell of a ball player. She's still has a very, very bright future ahead of her, but absolutely hate to see that.
Absolutely.
All right, as we transition here, back to football. Phone lines are open for you, by the way, before Jason joins us. Jason will be with us coming up at 1:15. Jason Reid of Anscape and the author of Rise of the Black Quarterback. Couple of things surrounding the 49ers. We talked about the Fred Warner, Brandon Aiyuk thing. We'll get back to that. Actually, we'll start there. I love Fred Warner said yesterday, Brandon Aiyuk's right there. He's right there. So I'm going to push him to be great. I'm going to make him great. I'm going to step to him. I'm going to make him take it to another notch. Like we talked about Fred Warner being one of the unquestioned leaders of this squad. I kind of love that. Love that. What we were last year, what you were last year, is not what you're going to be this year. And I'm going to challenge you to be better, man. I like that. I like that from Fred Warner. And Fred Warner is a guy who could do it. Not everybody could do it. Fred Warner is a guy who could do it.
People, they want to make it sound like it's crazy or whatever the case may be. I don't really care. I think he's the best middle linebacker in the game today. He is an unquestioned leader. And remember, Damian, before I even heard like the backstory and quotes and all this other stuff, remember what I said. Yesterday, I was like, oh, that's Fred being that leader. Fred is like setting the tone. This is what we're gonna do as a defense, and this is how we're gonna be as a team. And I'm not even gonna lie to you, man. I feel like this is one of those moments where we're gonna look back towards the end of the season. I don't know if it results in Super Bowl. I ain't saying that, but deep into January or February, whenever they're playing, it will be like, it started here. Started, in the first week of training camp.
Oh, man. I hope this isn't like when it started for the Kings last year playing in L.A.
No, that was different.
Okay.
It started.
No, that was different.
Yeah. No, there's no. Is there an equivalent to?
I'm gonna tuck mine in. You sound like Reid. Oh, that was different. I'm gonna tuck mine in.
Oh man, that was different. Is there? There's no equivalent to Schmutty in Harvin.
Oh God, I hope not.
On 49ers.
No, because I don't think Kyle or John will put up with that.
Exactly.
Yeah, they wouldn't put up with that.
There ain't no.
Buddy, there's 53 of us. We don't need you.
There ain't no juke out there. You said Kyle and John. There ain't no juke.
Yeah.
No juke on the sideline. This thing is solidified, verified. And I just think I keep saying it, man. And I could be wrong. I'd be shocked if I was. I think this 49ers team is legit. I think they are legit. I think they've got the goods.
So, by the way, just and I want to elaborate on that because I'm going to elaborate on that from a neutral party's perspective, a non-Homer Capaway perspective. But I'm pretty sure Black Bottles 916, who hasn't been in the chat since like the mid 90s.
Yeah, fam. I just saw what you put on the screen right now.
Pretty sure.
I just talked to this man on Friday.
I'm pretty sure he just announced baby number 2 is on the way to the entire chatty house. I don't know. I'll pull up my text thread. You got a text from?
I ain't got no text from him. I told you, I just saw the man on Friday. He was like, nah, I don't think we talked about this. He's like, I don't think, not yet,
Hey.
not yet. It ain't happening.
Okay. All right. So I get it. No, and it's the way it should be. Chatty house, then D-Lo and Casey. No, we got it. Like, that's fine. And hey, the Chatty House, that's why Chatty House is about to have a corporate sponsor. That's why they're about to be the corporate champions. It's because they get the breaking news first. So can we fly some air horns for our man Black Bottles 916? Family growing over there. Love that.
Love to see it. I saw the man on Monday. You know, he dropped off the shipment, you know, to the crib, and we was talking. And he's like, we talking about it, but nah, not right now. The time's not right. It's not happening. Here we are Wednesday.
Black Bottle said, I ain't gonna share with everybody individually. I'm just gonna go on D-Lo and KC, let the world know. All right. There you go, man. Well, congratulations, Ben and Madison. Congratulations, man.
That's awesome.
That's
Love
tremendous. Yeah, we're thrilled for you. There's babies everywhere in our circle here. So that's good stuff. There's babies all over the place. So congratulations to Black Bottles, man. That's awesome. Yeah. I'm kind of agree with you about the Niners, dude. Like, and again, hey, I'm a broadcast journalist. Mm-hmm. Bobby the Brain Heenan. Mm-hmm. I'm just telling you what I think. I feel like listening or reading what Fred Warner said yesterday post practice kind of. By the way, did you see the pop Jimmy got going into practice today?
Yeah, I did. I've got thoughts about that.
Oh, don't. You're not going to crap on Jimmy Garoppolo getting a pop from the crowd, are you?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
I guess I'm just in a different space.
Okay. I'm anxious to hear. It was a good tease. I'm anxious to hear how you're going to ruin this moment for Jimmy Garoppolo, who got a nice little ovation from
he deserves it too. Stop it, Damien. Who are you talking to? You talking to Kenny Carey? You know I love Jimmy Garoppolo.
You do love Jimmy Garoppolo.
That's my boy. So you know it ain't nothing on Jimmy.
Okay.
I'm just at a different place. That's all.
I feel like this team is pretty locked in. Not that most teams at this time, particularly through 2 padded practices, aren't. And if you're not, that's certainly concerning. Like if you're not locked in here the first time you get to hit your teammates in however many months it's been, that's probably a bit of a concern. But listening to the way this season is going, you hear the way Trent Williams talking about Trey Lance, like it's one thing you got Brandon Aiyuk or you've got Deebo Samuel or you've got Kyle Shanahan. You got a certified Hall of Famer like Trent Williams talking about Trey Lance the way that he is. Mm-hmm. Man, it sure feels like there's a lot of positive momentum on the side of the San Francisco 49ers right now, in my opinion.
Hey, man, I just think this is a team that's locked in. And I think what Kyle and John have built, John Lynch have built, they're entering their window with this group. Will they be able to cash in on it? I don't know. But this group that they've built, they're here. Yeah. This is the start of what their window and what they're trying to do and trying to win a championship. When the window's closed, they're going to have to reload and do all this other stuff. I don't know what happens after that. I'm just telling you right now, when you talk about Warner, when you talk about Kittle, when you talk about Deebo, talk about Trent Williams, Bosa, Armstead, Jimmy Ward, when you talk about all these guys, their time starts now. I always even thought in 2019, they were a little early. They were a little early in 2019. Last year, I thought coming into last year, I thought they'd be, you could say that's when it started, right? But the time is now. And I think guys like Fred Warner, they sense that. They understand what's at stake and what's in front of them and what's possible for them. And just because you understand it doesn't mean that you're going to cash in that money in the bank. But I think somebody like Fred Warner is going to set the tone and let everybody know if we don't if we don't make it, it's not going to be because we weren't focused or we didn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be because it just wasn't in the cards. But he is letting everybody know the time is now.
No mental lapses this year.
Mm-hmm.
No mistakes that take us out of games. Like, this is where, to me, this is the true time. This might be the only time you can truly, this is where you set those habits to avoid those mishaps that seem to derail so many moments in the San Francisco 49ers mid-season last year, when they had that tough stretch and we'd come in on a Monday like, yeah, well, if they hadn't just done this,
Mm-hmm.
if they hadn't picked up a penalty that it would have been a 3-and-out, but resulted in a 10-minute touchdown drive, or if they hadn't just, done this here or done this there, just you can point to singular moments and in last year's season, in that stretch in last year's season, you just avoid those. The difficulty in me assessing the San Francisco 49ers, though, is they were to a certain degree able to get those things kind of under control, which is how they made the run that they did. Obviously, you go into the playoffs, you beat a Cowboys team that's scared to death. You own Aaron Rodgers, you're able to get that done, and then you go in there and you just, you win against the eventual Super Bowl champion. So it's hard for me to really pinpoint, okay, you were 1 win short from the Super Bowl last year. What do you need to do better? I think this 49ers team can be better for 17 games. But what that means heading into the playoffs, I'm not exactly sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like the NFL playoffs, I think, are so much more different than like the NBA playoffs, especially with it's one game.
Yeah.
It's one and done. You're in and out. So it's a little bit difficult for me to figure out what they're going to be on a grand scale at the come next February. But through those 17 games, I feel like this team is better.
I absolutely do too. And when you get to the playoffs, this is what I say all the time. I mean, it's a crapshoot. It's one game, and who's the better team for sure, but also who's locked in that one day, who's having a good day, who can find their rhythm. So you can never. A lot of times, especially since they expanded the playoffs too, that makes it even more of a crapshoot. And I think only one team gets a bye. It's tough. It's tough to be like, we're a lock to do this and that once you get to the playoffs. But over the course of a season, Niners went 10-7 last year. I'd be shocked if they stayed healthy. I'd be shocked if that wasn't their floor this year. I'd be stunned. If they stayed relatively healthy, I'd be shocked at them losing 7 games just because they didn't play good enough. That's just they're that good to me. For them, they're in the NFC West where a Super Bowl contender is there. They may win 11, 12 games. That might not be enough.
Mm-hmm.
The Rams might win 13.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the issue with being in the same conference as the same division as the Super Bowl contender. But this team loaded, man. They loaded and ready to go. And that's before we even know if Trey Lance is really that good. I'm talking about Trey Lance on like a floor aspect of like worst case scenario, he's like Jimmy. Everybody want to talk about he's not that. What if Trey is really good? Nobody ever want to talk about that. They always want to question arm fatigue and what if Trey is really good?
Well, you're right, and it's a great hypothetical, but is it a bit optimistic to say his floor is Jimmy Garoppolo?
No, because that's where worst case scenario could happen. Like I don't.
So
I don't see.
I guess what I'm trying to nail down is you believe the worst case scenario with Trey Lance is he's Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yes, I believe that. I believe that. From what I've seen from Trey in 2 games in preseason, I don't see him being Nick Mullins. I'd be shocked if he was Nick Mullins. Be shocked.
Okay. It feels like that would be the worst case scenario, though.
Well, that
It
would
was
definitely
Nick
be the
Mullins,
worst case
not
scenario.
Jimmy Garoppolo. You just don't think that it's likely.
No.
Why do you hate the fans giving Jimmy an ovation when he walks onto the practice field?
I mean, I don't hate it.
You kind of do. I can tell. I can
don't.
hear that.
I don't hate it. I'm just saying, like,
you sound like the player hater on the old Bad Boy albums.
I don't really. No, that was actually the mad producer.
That was the mad producer.
No, let me tell you why I'm mad, son. Let me tell you why I'm mad.
Mm-hmm.
This guy running up hills with kids and everything, swimming in swimming pools with mermaids. Try that on the train.
But what's that have to do with why you hate Jimmy Garoppolo getting an ovation?
I don't hate Jimmy. All I will say is, on my timeline and everything, there's like video. Oh, there goes Jimmy, and Jimmy throwing on the side. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care what's going on with Jimmy. He ain't gonna be here week 1. Not gonna be part of this team. I wish him the best in his future endeavors. I don't care.
Cold, man. After that dude took you to 2 Super Bowls. Like let somebody shoot a social media video of him throwing the ball around. He ain't bothering nobody.
I love Jimmy.
Doesn't sound like it. Man, I hope you don't talk about me like this when I'm not around, because I don't want this kind of love.
Never.
I don't want this kind of love at all. Sounds
I got love
angry.
for Jimmy, man. I don't know. Standing ovation, that's good too. I'm just saying, like, hey, Jimmy's over there throwing on the side. Yeah, we know.
I feel like you're interpreting. I feel like you're reading the tone in that. Just, hey, here's a little video of Jimmy throwing. Maybe there's a break in the action over here. Hey, Jimmy G over here getting a workout. Hey, fans responding nicely to the quarterback that took him to the NFC Championship last year.
I don't have no problem with that. You could have told me that. I don't need a video.
Oh, for goodness sakes, man. You a cold dude.
What?
You a cold dude.
I got love for Jimmy, man.
I don't want that love. Jimmy don't want that love. Jimmy don't want that love. We'll come back, man. We've got the Ceiling is a Roof performance of the night, brought to you by ACR Solar and Roofing. Plus, The Athletic dropped some preseason power rankings in the NBA. Zach Harper wrote about the Kings.
I didn't mean to laugh or nothing.
We'll tell you what it said when D'Lo and Casey return here on ESPN 1320.
Hey, man, I appreciate everybody in the chat, the Rob W's, the Ramseys, everybody in here who talk bad about the 49ers. Because I remember you guys did that last year.
Ramsey really got to watch what we talk about.
We had a pretty good year all year. I remember specifically, I think they were like 2-4. And I was like, the playoffs aren't out of the reach. And, oh, man. Oh, they went crazy. They went the playoffs. Homer Callaway. They went crazy. Y'all were wrong. So every time you guys are very sure about how bad the Niners are going to be this year, 8-9. Remember 8 Niners, John Bull, everybody, 8 Niners. Every time you guys are so sure, it makes me even more confident. Because I know you guys are wrong when it comes to the Niners. So please, tell me how Trey stinks. Tell me how I'm being a homer. I know how that story's going to end. So just please keep it up. Keep it up. It brings more confidence. Will S. You're right. The Raiders are loaded too, by the way. The Raiders.
Yeah.
Raiders
I like
stacked.
that team.
The Raiders are stacked.
I like that.
I'd be very excited if I was a Raider fan too. They're stacked.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to enjoy that one.
That boy Black Bottles, man. Can't believe it.
You don't love us like that, man. I don't know. You don't love us like that.
Josh, Casey, how do you think Trey compares to Cap? I don't know, man. I mean, I haven't seen a whole lot of Trey. Cap was, I will say this
Cap
about
dynamic.
Both of them. I First of all, I don't think Trey's the athlete that Cap was. Cap was freak. Cap was crazy. The arm strength, the speed. He was sick. When he was right before he got hurt and everything like that, he was that boy was bad. But one thing about it reminds me of Cap, and I think this is true for Trey, is I think Nick Wagner said it when he was on here, or maybe I heard it somewhere else, but I agree with that aspect of you're not going to see maybe a higher completion percentage from Trey than what Jimmy had. Jimmy will make these little high percentage throws, safe throws. I'm not sure if Trey is that accurate to the degree that Jimmy was. Jimmy was super accurate, and he would get locked in. But the big plays are going to be what changes the game, changes the 49ers offense, and maybe open some things up. Because a lot of these safeties were like 9 yards off the line of scrimmage for Jimmy. They didn't have to worry about nothing going over the top. Yeah. And they got to push back a little bit. I think that might open some things up. So the ability to go down the field, I think, is what's going to help Trey and this team a lot. I think he is. One thing that
good enough.
I don't know about is what can he do in another offense.
I sure as hell would rather have Jimmy Garoppolo throwing the ball than Drew Lock.
I agree. Did you hear that Geno's beating him out right now?
I can't say that terribly shocks me. I think Geno would be very good in short spurts. I think the longer Geno's out there, the more.
I was wrong about Geno. I thought Geno would be a lot better.
I think Geno thought Geno would be a lot better. Jason Reid, the author of Rise of the Black Quarterback, contributor over at Anscape as well, is going to be with us coming up about 30 minutes from now. You can watch that interview if you'd like over on twitch.tv/ESPN1320, youtube.com/ESPN1320, though I hate calling them interviews. They're more conversations. We'll talk to him. Of course, you'll be able to hear it on the Odyssey app at 13:20 a.m., but we'll talk to him about his new book, Rise of the Black Quarterback, coming up again in about 13 minutes or so. Before we dive into the Sacramento Kings and some notes coming out of The Athletic.
The ceiling is the roof. Let's make it happen. Let's keep moving forward.
Let's keep it moving, baby. The Ceiling is the Roof performance of the night brought to you by ACR Solar and Roofing. Call 916-481-7200 to set your appointment. I kept looking around like, man, what's wrong with my air conditioner today? It keeps clicking on, and this was at like 9:30. We're working on the show, getting ready to do what we do here for 4 hours. And it's like, man, this thing keeps clicking on. It must be broken. Went into the bedroom. Hey, Siri, what's the temperature outside? Oh, it's 91. Oh, that's why it keeps clicking on at 9:30 in the morning, because it's already 91 degrees outside.
Damn, I didn't know that was 9:30.
Yeah, it was early. It was early. It was like 71 when we went out for the walk, man. And it heated up. It heated up quick. That energy bill went on the rise, but I got these solar panels on the way thanks to ACR Solar and Roofing. Again, get your appointment set at 916-481-7200. Sabrina Ionescu. By the way, I do this regularly. I avoided Mookie Betts' performance last night because it was just like, it's not right. We don't need to do it. I'm just gonna leave it. We don't need to do it. I recognize how great that young man is, but he's not worthy of the Ceiling is the Roof performance of the night.
Thank you.
Sabrina, you're welcome. I did it on your birthday too when you weren't even here. I was like, I can't give it to Mookie Betts on his birthday. I think I gave it to James Ham that day. Sabrina Ionescu went for 31 last night on 11 of 16 shooting. Ooh. She had 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals. She is the future of that point guard position in the WNBA, man. She is a phenomenal watch on a very young New York Liberty team. She's must see, man. If you haven't watched Sabrina Ionescu yet, you've got to. You absolutely got to.
I'm ready for the playoffs. Where are they at?
A couple more days.
They gonna be in the playoffs?
Oh, the Liberty? I don't think so.
I saw they were making a late push. Last time I saw them was that Aces game where she had another 30-point game, 30-point triple-double.
I mean, it's tough when you're where they are to be in the MVP conversation, but as an individual player, like she'll bring eyes to the game. Like she was anointed by Kobe, which didn't hurt, and rightfully so, by the way. She'll bring eyeballs to the WNBA. She's that entertaining.
Looking at the standings, I don't think it's going to happen. They're 12-18.
They're too young. They're like the Liberty are like Houston. Like they're really young. I mean, they might be a year. They might be more like Detroit than Houston.
Help me out here.
A little bit further along.
If I'm reading this correctly, how many get in the playoffs?
Is it 8?
They're the 8th seed right now. There's a 3-way tie between the Liberty, Sparks, and the Dream. They're all 12-18, and the Lynx are 12-19.
Oh, that's tough.
The only team eliminated is the Fever. The poor Fever, 5-27.
Fever haven't won since
Tamika Catchings.
Probably, yeah. Since Tamika Catchings last year. That makes complete sense. The Athletic put out, but we're just days away from the WNBA playoffs starting, man. They're going to be fun. Yeah. We've got to get a Sky Aces finals. We absolutely have to have that.
So let me ask you that. You'd rather, I guess you'd rather have that. I was about to say you'd rather have that than Taurasi one last time. She can play one of those two teams in the playoffs though.
Oh, like, give me Diana over everything every time. I just don't think that's realistic.
Really?
I don't think Phoenix.
They're 13-18.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they got that in
the Liberty. They need an Eskew in the playoffs though. They do need to fix that to make sure she's in there. Fix it. Do what you got to do.
It's happened in other leagues before, so just make sure the Stars get in.
They can get Dallas out of there.
Sure.
The Dallas Wings. They're 14-16. They're in the 6th spot. They're probably going to make it, but I say you probably, get the Sparks in there, get Dallas out.
Okay.
Or the Dream.
I don't really know. I mean, that's Renee Montgomery's squad. I don't really know who rocks with the Dream anymore.
They have I don't know if she plays that much, but they got the I thought they had the young lady from that played at Arizona a couple years ago, the little point guard. I thought she went to the Dream.
Maybe she did.
Yeah. I haven't seen a lot of Dream games.
I haven't either. Like I don't know why. They're just kind of tune out for me.
Mystics though, doing work.
I always root for the Mystics.
They're already locked in the 4th seed right now.
Get Mike Tebow. Get Mike Tebow another championship, man.
I think the Mystics are my team. Like I wanted it to kind of be the Aces, but that's just it's almost like getting with the Warriors right now. I think I'm rocking with the Mystics.
Well, the Aces haven't won yet, so I wouldn't call it that. Like
no, that's true too.
They're
I like the Aces.
They're loaded. They're a good
Aces.
squad. Yeah, they're loaded there. But man, shoot, you absolutely can root for the Washington Mystics, man. We got family ties there, so we can absolutely root for the Washington Mystics this postseason and get them another championship. I mean, plus Deladon all day.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Deladon's so good. Gino Auriemma still ain't forgiving her for not going to UConn. That's how good she is. Like I will forgive and forget everything except that, because they would have won God knows how many titles in a row if she wound up staying there. The Athletic dropped some power rankings, some preseason power rankings in a recent post, and the Sacramento Kings are in the category of looking to make the play-in. Who else is in this category, you ask? Well, I'll tell you. Ranked at number 19 is Trista Crick's Portland Trailblazers.
19. Where are the Kings?
19. I'm going to get there because at number 20 is your New York Knicks. Number 21, the Washington Wizards.
Come on, man.
Number 22, the Charlotte Hornets.
That's fair. That's a little low if you ask me.
Number 23, the Utah Jazz.
Come on now. Come on now.
Number 24. Oh my God. The Sacramento Kings.
The Kings are behind the Jazz
Yes.
and the Wizards.
Yes. Adam Schefter just tweeted the NFL has filed its appeal in the Deshaun Watson suspension.
Wow. I did not see that coming.
Oh,
Okay. Well, let's see
boy.
let's see what they talk about.
this is going to get really, really interesting.
Let's see
Really, really interesting.
what they talk about.
Huh. Okay. We'll follow it. We'll pass along the information as we got it. But that was just tweeted by every NFL insider out there. The league has filed its appeal in the Deshaun Watson suspension. That means unless I'm misunderstanding something, that means the ruling is now no longer in Judge Robinson's hands. It's in Roger Goodell's.
Yep.
Unless I've got this misunderstood, and I might, because this process with the judge is new. But when it goes to an appeal, Roger Goodell is in charge of the appeal.
Yeah.
Now, this erodes the whole thing that they just established. This is going to create a massive, massive conflict with the NFL Players Association. A massive, massive conflict. However, this just dawned on me. We were talking about this the other day. This just dawned on me. Who cares if it causes a conflict with the NFL Players Association? Those dummies lock themselves up to a contract for the next 10 years.
It's 10 years. Like, deal with it. I think, what is this, year 2?
It's year 2.
Yeah, deal with it. This is how it's going to be.
Hey, guys, we'll revisit the whole disciplinary process in 8 years. But Deshaun, you're suspended for the season.
And if the reports are correct, I mean, that's what it should be. It should be a year. To be honest with you, there's nothing. If I'm reading this right, Goodell is the guy that is making the final decision. Goodell was the lead on the NFL requesting a year, so there should be nothing stopping this from being a year-long suspension.
There shouldn't be. Let's see. Under the 2020 NFL-NFLPA collective bargaining agreement, the factual findings of the disciplinary officer are binding and may not be appealed. Judge Robinson found that Mr. Watson violated the NFL's personal conduct policy on multiple occasions and suspended him for 6 games. The CBA affords the NFL or the NFLPA the right to appeal the discipline imposed by the disciplinary officer. Such an appeal must be filed within 3 days and would be heard by the commissioner or his designee. The NFL notified the NFLPA that it will appeal Judge Robinson's disciplinary decision and filed its brief this afternoon. Commissioner Roger Goodell will determine who will hear the appeal. So if I read this correctly, either Roger Goodell hears the appeal or he decides who hears the appeal. And if nothing else, this shows us, when did the ruling come out? Monday?
Yeah.
So it was Sunday night when the NFLPA released that statement. They knew exactly what the suspension was. They knew they had a very, very favorable suspension, and that's why they publicly said we should accept the findings. The NFL should accept the findings, and neither one of us file an appeal when this ruling comes out as to not undermine the process.
Right.
They knew. NFL didn't bite, and here we are. It's going to be an interesting couple of weeks here.
And here's the thing. I think Bryce is spot on. I think I saw the same thing. Here's how this is going to go. It says it's in Goodell's hands now, but the NFLPA will appeal that. But then if they appeal, it'll go to actual court. Then they got to go into discovery with Watson and the Texans and all this other stuff. And then you got to ask yourself, is that Deshaun, Houston Texans, is that what you really want?
I don't know what Deshaun wants. I sure as hell know the Houston Texans don't.
Is that
Houston
what you really
Texans
wanted?
buried this as quickly as they possibly could. Deshaun's dragged this out. That might be an unfair way of phrasing it, but Deshaun has dragged this out. This could have been settled a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
But he said he was determined to clear his name and state his innocence, and that strategy turned out not to be effective.
Mm.
And I mean, a whole lot has come out about Deshaun Watson, but Houston was like, "Oh no, thank you. How many? 30? Settle all 30. We're out. We want nothing to do with this." They don't want this going to Discovery. Ooh, this is it. But at the same time, the Texans and Deshaun Watson aren't the same. They wouldn't be the same. I guess in this case, they'd be the defendant. I guess they wouldn't, but they couldn't be tied. They shouldn't be tied together.
They shouldn't, but
because
you could get into a Nino Brown situation where Deshaun Watson just said, Kareem Akbar, the educated brother in the back, and says that about the Houston Texans. They provided all this.
But why would Deshaun do that?
It's like Nino. If Nino Brown going down, there's a whole lot of other people that are going down with me.
Okay.
I think if I was advising Deshaun, I would tell him take whatever the NFL gives. Maybe it's 12 games, maybe it's a year. But you already sneakily set this thing up where you're not going to lose much money if they get you for the whole year. So take
what
it.
if, okay, first you're listening to D-Lo and KC on KIFM West Sacramento, KRXQ HD2 Sacramento, ESPN 1320, driven by Lasher's Elk Grove Dodge, always live on the free Odyssey app. What if they fine him? Like 6-game suspension, maybe up it to 8 games, whatever, but they fine him $17 million, which is equivalent. Not an arbitrary number. It's equivalent to his earnings last year.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd sell it as he was suspended for a year because right now he wasn't. That he was paid all of that. He was paid every dollar he was owed last year.
Right.
You fine him $17 million. Now he missed an entire season. You fine him the first 6 games of this year or whatever, and now you've been suspended 17. You've been suspended. Yeah, that's 24 games at this point. You lost $17 million plus whatever, Deshaun Watson chump change you would lose from this year.
I mean, that's an option. They gotta be real.
And I guess my question is that really an option? Because he wasn't suspended last year.
Right. No, I agree. Because like you just said, you can say it was a suspension, but it wasn't.
Right.
It wasn't a suspension. You go get his money or whatever. Still, it wasn't a suspension. The biggest thing, we're looking at the suspension, and I think the biggest issue that the NFL would face is having him on the field in 6 games. Like that's a problem. I don't think the public public's gonna do whatever, but I know me, it doesn't fly the whole. Basically, he was suspended last year. No, because he wasn't. Like I agree. He wasn't. Yep. That wasn't disciplinary action.
Mm-hmm.
The disciplinary action is the 6 games that he has right now, and that's wild to say that's all he's getting. So you gotta tack on the games this year.
Is there a punishment that will be effective enough? And I asked that because the outrage regarding Ray Rice.
Mm-hmm.
Ray Rice was in a very, very different place in his career.
Mm-hmm.
At a very, very different position than Deshaun Watson is. And man, never saw the football field again. Never signed, never brought nothing. He was effectively, he was effectively banned. for life. Like he was never brought back. And again, I don't think he was 30. I feel like he might have been 28. But he was approaching
on the downside.
He was
but he still
approaching
could
that
play.
number
Yeah.
that scares so many teams away. But again, he's a running back. He's not a quarterback, and he's certainly not, when he's playing, one of the best in the game, which, like it or not, that's what Deshaun Watson is.
Yeah.
Is there a punishment that will that everyone will be comfortable with?
No.
Even
there
the
won't be a punishment.
angriest group of people.
Yeah, no, because there'll be the angriest group of people that will say you don't need to be in the league. There will be that group. So I get what you're saying, but no, there won't be. I think for the majority of people, I think a year will do it. A year would be fair enough, because there's some people believe. I remember, I think Bomani Jones talked about this even with Ray Rice, and I'm not trying to. I want people to hear me. I'm not casting Bomani. I'm not trying to misquote him or anything, but I understood what he was saying. He was like, you can't. So in certain situations, you can't just take everything forever away from somebody. There's got to be a certain level of something to say, hey, if you get this help, if you do this, there's still hope for you in your career, or whatever the case may be. Yeah. Or else, like, why would people try to get better? You know what I mean? So I understood what he was saying. So like, that's why I'm not saying like you can't just be gone forever.
Right.
But I think a year would do good enough.
That'll have him out of the game for 2 years. It will bring him back into the game as the highest paid player in professional football.
I'm surprised I did this.
I am too. I'm anxious to see how it plays out. I'm curious, like we've talked about, like the Cleveland Browns culpability and all of this. Massage therapy, especially in football, it's a part of sports. How do you navigate that? If you're the Cleveland Browns, like, how do you even approach that conversation with him? Better yet, how do you approach that conversation with your massage therapist? I don't give a damn if the massage therapist is a male or a female. How do you approach this subject with them?
Right.
Like, it feels like, optics alone, you've put a lot of people in a really awkward position here that I don't know how you fix this. And Deshaun certainly has it's a strong word, and if it's foul, it's foul, but he certainly seems to exhibit the tendencies of a predator.
And I was just thinking about that. It's funny you say that. His adamant lack of understanding or culpability for what has gone on is it's wild. It's wild. Like you said, it's predator-like behavior. Like, I think he really believes he didn't. I believe that when he thinks he did nothing wrong. He thinks he did nothing wrong. He says, no, this is all people just trying to make stuff up. I think he believes that, and that is, how do you fix that?
Yeah, I don't know.
How do you work with that?
Every time I ask myself, is there any chance, because of how adamant he's been, is there any chance he didn't do anything wrong? I read the testimony again. And then I think, why did the Houston Texans send him to 60 different massage therapists? Like, I'm not going to pretend to know everything about every athlete, but I've had the privilege of being around some very, very high level athletes. When they find one thing that helps their game, they stick with it. Kara used to fly out here to Sacramento to see a guy downtown because of the way he like cracked her back and moved her foot and got her hips loose and did all this stuff. She would fly cross country to see him because there was no one there that could do it. The massage therapist that we had in Connecticut went to Washington with her. She travels to Duke to work with the team down there. Greatest massage therapist you'll ever have in your life. It's not cute. It's not frou-frou. There's nothing like enjoyable about it. She is a sports therapist. It hurts. But it helps these athletes get better.
Mm-hmm.
You're not jumping from one to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other. If you believe that's helping improve your game. I ain't met one athlete that does that. Not one.
No. I mean,
and that's where I just can't reconcile what happened with what he says.
Well, Damien, that goes to anything with athletes, right? Like a skills trainer. You're not having 50 different skills trainers in there. You got at the very least maybe 2 or 3 that you really like. You rock them with them. Price on the chat. Therapists are like barbers. He don't have 70 different barbers.
That's right.
Like all this stuff. Like
no respectable individual goes to multiple barbers. You find 2. Okay, you have 2. Yeah, you can't have 60.
You cannot have 60. No. Hairline be looking like Wayne Brady's.
Looking like that episode of Blackish when his barber got a little too old and it just didn't quite look right. It's no bueno, man. We're going to step out. We're going to come back. I guess this is a prime time to start our conversation with Jason Reid. Rise of the Black Quarterback is in bookstores now. We're going to talk to him about that book. We'll talk a little bit about his time with the Dodgers and anxious to get his thoughts on the latest on Deshaun Watson as well. We will do all of that when we return here. It's Stilo and KC, brought to you by McQueen and the Violet Fog, the smoothest gin in the world, handcrafted in Brazil, here on ESPN 1320. Clear. Up. Yeah. Jason, what's going on, brother?
Hey, what's up, y'all? How you doing?
We're doing well, man. How are you?
I can't complain, brothers. Life is good.
Love it. We appreciate you, man. Thanks for doing this with us. We're on the live stream right now, but we're on the commercial for radio.
Okay, you got it.
Yeah. Tremendous book, man. Really, we got a chance. We got a chance to read it this weekend, man. There was a lot in there that I just had never hit myself to. It was great
appreciate
stuff.
Y'all. Just appreciate the words, man. I all these brothers who gave me time to tell me their stories. I just wanted to make sure that I did the best job I could putting their stories out there. I mean, some of them, have the old timers, the pioneers. Their stories have been out there before, but you still, people trust you with telling their story, even if it's been out there before. You want to try to do it in the best way possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's so much I want to say. I'm gonna just save it for the radio. I like the questions I want to ask you and all this other stuff, because some of it is still kind of mind blowing. Right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, and I'm sure y'all want to get into the Deshaun Watson stuff too.
Yeah, please. Yeah. We got that right at the top of the hour, so that'll probably be what we come out with. And there's Deshaun is starting. It's tough, man. Deshaun is starting to fall into that uncomfortable R. Kelly category. Like Deshaun is so talented, man, but you almost have to.
I mean, that's the thing, it's interesting you bring up the R. Kelly comparison, and I started thinking about this. Maybe I should save it for when
that's fine. Where? How about we'll keep it simple because we're so eager to talk about your book. Like, where are you stationed at?
Northern Virginia. I live like right next to where the Washington Commanders train.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never any shortage of news coming from over there.
Man, I used to cover them for the Washington Post for a long time, man, and like you just can't, like, when everything happens over there, you should be surprised, but you're really not. It's just like one more thing after another. Yeah, it's crazy.
Are you from that area?
No, bro, I'm actually from Brooklyn, New York. That's where my family's from,
Right.
and then but I went to college out in LA, and I stayed out there for a long time. So,
Okay.
I consider myself in both Brooklyn and LA.
Yeah.
Hello, Brooklyn.
That's right.
Stuff. Good stuff. I'm going out there a little over a week from now.
Okay, just vacation or
Yeah, I haven't been out there in a while. Going to go see a couple of shows. I got a whole day planned where I'm just going to Brooklyn, hitting
Yeah.
the Biggie murals,
Okay.
DB murals, 40 Acres and a Mule. Our guy Don did the big mural that's outside Spike's joint.
Oh man, I was just there the other. Spike is doing this Colin Kaepernick documentary for ESPN, and I was just there literally last week filming something. So he did the big mural that's right on the outside. Oh, real cool, man. Yeah, that thing is beautiful.
Yeah, it's he hooked up with Spike on social, and Spike had him do that for him, and yeah, so I'll go get my obligatory picture in front of our guys
Very
mural,
cool.
man, and
very cool.
Yeah, man.
You know, the one thing that I don't like about Brooklyn that I realized today, and I love Brooklyn. I love Brooklyn. And I know they're doing this to save the earth. It's okay. But that grass on top of the Barclays Center is hideous.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wait, it's got to be a different way.
Hang on, guys. We're coming back. Hang on 1 second. We're coming back to the radio. Live on the Odyssey app, live on 1320 AM, twitch.tv/ESPN1320, youtube.com/ESPN1320. Happy to bring in Jason Reid of Anscape, as well as author of the new book, Rise of the Black Quarterback, which is available wherever you get books now. And Jason, we praised it as you joined the stream, man, but we'll do it again here for the radio. Kenny and I got an opportunity to read the book over the weekend. Absolutely tremendous historical context to the NFL, and really gives backing as to why we say some of the things that we do about players at that position in today's league.
Well, I appreciate you guys for having me, and appreciate you for the kind words. I set out to try to tell a story about the history of not just the black quarterback, but black men in the NFL. Focusing on black quarterbacks because of their importance and the role that they played in this league. And so when I hear that you like the book, it makes me feel good, because I wanted to get these stories out, and I wanted to do the best job I could telling the stories of these men.
Nah, man, it's a phenomenal job. We'll get the hard stuff out. Well, it could all be hard, but this is the current issue that we got going on with Deshaun Watson. And my partner talked about during the break where Deshaun Watson is starting to get into this category, almost like R. Kelly, where it's like you can't even really, like, I don't want to talk about him. Like, it's very uncomfortable, and it's very crazy. And a perfect example of that is last night, I was just, after reading some of the book, it put me down a rabbit hole of man, I want to see some videos of different conversations that, some other black quarterbacks have had in the past. And there was this roundtable with Warren Moon, EJ Manuel, and I forgot the guy's name who went to Tennessee, but I just was listening to it as I was walking around doing some other things. And then I went to see, who is that talking? And Deshaun Watson was on there. And I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know. Oh, just seeing him and just seeing what's going on, it's become very uncomfortable to see him. And I don't know how this works out for his career, to be honest with you.
Well, look, everything you just said, okay. And the issue is that with him getting a 6-game suspension, the NFL's disciplinary officer handed down a 6-game suspension, no fine. It doesn't feel right to a lot of people. It feels like, okay, something more should have happened here. And the NFL wanted him to be suspended for a year and have a hefty fine, a massive fine, in the millions of dollars. But the NFL disciplinary officer didn't feel that there was enough evidence to go beyond the 6 games, which in the NFL's personal conduct policy, which she determined he violated, but by his actions, 6 games is kind of where she felt it came down, and she didn't feel she could go further than that because she didn't have the evidence to do it. So, you look at the situation, all the women who came out, and it just doesn't feel right that it's only 6 games. Now, as far as where his career goes, guaranteed $230 million, biggest guarantee in the history of the NFL. And I think it's one of those things where after this suspension situation is dealt with, because the NFL can still appeal it. And if the NFL does appeal it, they'll go back and try to get more games, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
So the NFL, actually, right before you joined us, we weren't sure if you got to, the NFL did appeal it.
Oh, well, there you go. Okay.
Before you join us, the NFL did appeal it. And I think it was actually Ian Rappaport just posted a note here about how, because the NFL appeals it, now the NFLPA can respond. This is ultimately probably going to wind up in federal court somehow. And
yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off, brother. The thing is that this is the arbitration system the league agreed to.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, after the league, like you said, they just appealed it today. Whatever the appeal is, that's going to be it. Whatever the ruling is on the appeal, and because this has been collectively bargained. I mean, this is in their CBA agreement. So, this will eventually end. It's going to end with whatever the appeal ruling is. But my thing is that, look, two grand juries in Houston declined to indict him. The Houston Texans settled 30 lawsuits with women. I believe of the 24 lawsuits that he had filed against him personally, I believe all but one of them or 2 of them have been settled. Mm-hmm. The arbiter, Sue Robinson, she heard from the NFL, she heard from Watson's camp, she heard from the NFLPA, and she just didn't feel that she could give him more than 6 games. Now, we don't know what the appeal is going to say. The problem is the league had to appeal this for the optics, because all anybody's going to care about is that, well, no matter what the league wanted, he only got 6 games. So the league had to do this. But, man, what we've seen is that when people win, a lot of things are forgotten about. So here's my guess. Let's just say that the appeal doesn't tack on any more games or a fine or anything else. And let's say after 6 games, Deshaun Watson is back on the field. There will be people who will protest. There are going to be people who are outraged about this because it doesn't feel right. Mm-hmm. But I would not be surprised that if Deshaun Watson balls out and Cleveland has a great season, you're going to hear less and less about this every week. Because in our society, if you ball out, if you win, a lot of people are willing to overlook a lot else.
Yeah. I also, where is that line drawn, though? You know what I mean? In the world of the NFL, I believe you're 100% accurate. But like in the black community, like there are still, I guess there are still discussions about, is an R. Kelly song going to come on the playlist or not? Can you pull up an episode of the Cosby Show? Can you know what I mean? Like Deshaun 3 years ago was arguably top 3 quarterbacks in the entire league. Mm-hmm. And it's a tough thing to reconcile.
Well, let me go down that road you were going down about Cosby and R. Kelly. I was out with some friends at dinner one night, all black people, and I say that because it's relevant that it's a group of black people. Mm-hmm. And there was a black woman in the group who said that, but the 12 play is still one of the greatest CDs ever. And people jumped on it. I mean, not literally, obviously, but it was like, how can you say that? And I just shut up and I listened because it got real heated. Like R. Kelly in our community now, you can't recognize his brilliance as an artist mm-hmm. because of everything else. Mm-hmm. And I get that, people, because of everything that happened that we know about now, it's just one of those things where, like, man, yeah. But so when she said that, 12 play is still the greatest CD ever, I was like, oh boy. Like, I knew it was about to get hot. Okay. Yeah. And look, if he goes on and wins a Super Bowl for the Cleveland Browns, I think a lot of people are going to be kind of the mindset where, like, well, yeah, but he did win us a Super Bowl. I just think it's. I'm not saying it's right, okay. And again, I'm with y'all. The 6 games thing, it just doesn't feel right. Even though under the NFL personal conduct policy, I understand why she ruled the way she did. But there's the letter of the law type thing, and then there's just how it makes you feel, and it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, no, it's a crazy situation. We already see that at training camp the other day when Deshaun Watson was there, and he was getting mobbed in a positive way, I guess. People getting autographs and saying, "We're with you, Deshaun," or whatever. So you still see it. I mean, before he went into jail, R. Kelly was still able to have a lot of people at his concerts, right? You know, there's just going to be that group of people that they're not as bothered by, I guess.
And let me say this, like Deshaun Watson, 2 grand juries in Houston did not indict him. They did not feel there was enough evidence to indict him. And so I want to be clear when I try to make this analogy. Bill Cosby was sent to prison. Okay, so he was convicted. It's not the same thing. Okay, so, and I know I'm probably going to still take a lot of backlash when I say what I'm about to say, but there are still people who will tell you that in our community that Cosby got set up, that Cosby, no, I don't believe it. I mean, there are still people who will say that. And again, I'm not drawing a straight line between him and Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson wasn't charged with any crimes. I want to make that clear. But we know what the things that we deal with in our community on a daily basis, and the conversations that we have, when white people aren't around, and the things we say to each other, it doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel right.
Yeah. Let's transition to the book. Jason Reid, author of Rise of the Black Quarterback, available now wherever you get books. You pointed out something really, I don't know why it had never dawned on me before. You pointed it out really early in the book, where you're talking about, Russell Wilson and Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott, this different group of black quarterbacks that are in the league right now. And you mentioned Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes being the first black quarterback who was like the best. Like, he was the guy. There was no Brady, there was no Manning, there was no Dan Marino looking over Warren Moon or any of those, John Elway looking over Randall Cunningham. And I was like, damn, that never clicked with me, that Patrick Mahomes was the first. And every time I see Mahomes, I hear the way that Mahomes talked about, and I think you'll know what I mean when I ask this, is Patrick Mahomes the safest, like, first black quarterback to be the absolute best? Because, like, there's Patrick Mahomes and then there's Lamar. Like, they don't look the same, and Patrick is a little bit safer for some.
I totally feel where you're going with that. And I would, like, a few years ago, I would have said to you, yeah, that if you're making a comparison, to Lamar, absolutely. But you see why I shy away from even, like, going there and now saying 100% I agree with it, is because back after George Floyd was killed in Minneapolis by the police, Patrick Mahomes came out in a video with other NFL players, but he was the guy at the time. There was no question. He was the best player in the NFL. He came out in this video and said, Black Lives Matter. Now, at the time, the NFL didn't want anything to do with the Black Lives Matter. Mm-hmm. If you remember, after Colin Kaepernick, peaceful protest, Kaepernick ran out of the league, and the NFL was just furious about the fact that, he brought this attention that the NFL team owners didn't want. So when Patrick Mahomes said Black Lives Matter in that video, it changed a lot of things. Like you couldn't be against Patrick Mahomes if you're the people who run the NFL, because he was the best player in the league. And he forced the NFL to acknowledge the Black Lives Matter movement, to step up more, funding social justice issues. So yeah, I get what you're saying, but even he kind of turned, like, to something that they didn't expect. Because when he said Black Lives Matter in that video, it forced the NFL to, like, now finally acknowledge this and deal with it. But yeah, he doesn't look like Lamar. He doesn't have twists. And if you're an NFL team owner, you see differences between them in the way they look, the way they play. But Patrick Mahomes showed, hey, I'm black. Like he could have chosen to be quiet, but he decided not to. And he said, Black Lives Matter. And he knew what that was going to do. Okay. Because look, a lot of white people, and I say white people because we know that from polling on the Kaepernick protest, it fell like along racial lines. Black people, according to polls, generally supported it, and white people, according to polls, generally didn't. So he knew that by stepping into that thing, he was declaring, look, I'm a black quarterback and Black Lives Matter. So they didn't. So basically, team owners didn't even get the break that they, thought they might have gotten from him, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Jason, we have I don't want to call it a running joke because there's a lot of truth in how we go about this. But myself and Damian, when it comes to a black head coach in the NFL and definitely in college football, you won't hear us go crazy on them, right? Like they may make the worst play call of all time. We'll be like, that was unfortunate. And I think you know why we do that. We're not, they don't get a shot. They don't get a chance. So I'm not going to be the black man to come on here and talk about how this guy sucks, how Lovie Smith is no good. You ain't going to get it from me, right? When it came to the black quarterback, there was a time when that was the case.
Yeah.
It felt like, and I said, we've been doing this show for 2 years. And I remember, matter of fact, it was the season opener between Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. And I think we went down the list of like week 1, there was like 10.
It was like 11. Yeah.
Black quarterbacks, right? And it felt like at that time that we didn't have to do that with the black quarterback no more. We were here. It was accepted. We're good to go. We can, we don't have to be coy with any criticism with them because we're gonna get another one back in there. In the last couple months, when you talk about what's gone on with Lamar Jackson or what hasn't gone on with his contract and the way we feel he's kind of been treated or mistreated in Baltimore, some of the things that's gone on with Kyler Murray, are we not where we maybe thought we were when it comes to black quarterbacks being accepted even today in 2022?
I just wrote about this today, as a matter of fact, because look, things have never been better for black men who play quarterback in the NFL than they are right now. Deshaun Watson and Kyler Murray have the biggest contracts ever in NFL history. There are star black quarterbacks throughout the league. Black quarterbacks have this position of power and influence in the league that even 10 years ago you never would have thought possible. I mean, Russell Wilson is, he forces a trade out of Seattle. He's going to the Hall of Fame eventually. You got Patrick Mahomes, who has a massive contract. The other guys I mentioned, Dak Prescott in Dallas has a massive contract. Mm-hmm. These guys now are superstars, and they have the platform, and they are among the people who run the league. Having said that, though, it's still America. Mm. And even in 2022, and it's so funny you point to that Mahomes Deshaun Watson matchup a couple of years ago. And I felt the same thing. Like, we're finally at a point right now. I was in the process writing the book, but I was like, we're fine. Just this past week, the article comes out where these anonymous defensive coordinators talk about Patrick Mahomes. Once you take away his first read, he has to play quote unquote street ball. And then Lamar Jackson can't win passing the ball. And we see that Kyler Murray, the team puts in language in his contract that says, you got to go study more. So, we're still at a point where this is still America. And Patrick Mahomes addressed this in training camp last week. We said, we've had to fight to get here, black quarterbacks, and we've proven that we should have been here all along. But, you hear the evaluation of us, and it sounds a little different than it does of other people who don't look like us. I'm paraphrasing. That isn't exactly what he said, but that's the point he was making. So, no, we're not past it yet because we see, we let our guard down. We thought that, okay, all these guys are now in the league. They're starring in the league. But this past week showed us, no, we're still at a place where it's America, and we're going to see coded language, and these guys are still going to feel compelled to address it, just like Patrick Mahomes did the other day.
Is that what you think the Kyler Murray thing was?
About
the independent study clause in his contract?
Yeah, here's my thing about the Kyler Murray thing. The Kyler Murray thing brings back memories of a time when NFL people who controlled things openly said black people they're not smart enough and they don't work hard enough. That was a work habits thing, okay? And there was a time, and I just talked to Warren Moon about this the other day, there was a time when they would be open about it. I mean, it wasn't something that they said in secret. It was like, oh, black quarterbacks, black players in general and black quarterbacks also don't study enough. Well, I don't think the Kyler Murray thing was a direct line back to that. I think that it brings back images of that. But for me to think it's just an overall racism thing, then Mahomes would have had to have had that in his contract, and Lamar would have had to have it in contract. I think what that was, while it reminds us of that, that was just the Cardinals being really stupid, okay? Because you don't guarantee a guy $160 million if you don't think he is putting in the right amount of work. What I think that was that the Cardinals generally were okay with how Kyler studies, but they're guaranteed $160 million now, the second biggest guarantee ever in NFL history. And they probably wanted to poke him a little more to think, okay, study a little bit more because you're great with the way you're studying right now. But if you just eat up that playbook even more, you can maximize your ability. But that's not something that should have been put in the contract. That's something you say to him privately, because putting it in the contract, it brings back all these memories of saying that the black quarterbacks are stupid and they don't work hard. And why would you give a guy $160 million if you don't think he works very hard? Right. Okay, it didn't make sense. And it didn't make sense so much, they wound up taking it out of the contract because of the backlash. So the Cardinals made a huge mistake. I don't think it was about overt racism, although that's the memory that it brings back.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that. Reid, in your book, once again, Rise of the Black Quarterback, Jason Reid. You guys go get that everywhere that you can. Phenomenal read. But reading your book, then I was actually listening to some interviews and hear Warren Moon talk about some stuff when he was coming up. And there's things that you just, they don't even make sense to think about. He talked about how when on his pro day, he wouldn't run as fast as he could in his 40 because he didn't want them to even get an inkling of changing his position. So if he was fast enough to run 4.4, 4.5, he said he made sure he ran 4.7, 4.8, just because. And like who else has to deal with that kind of stuff? And I see things. I'm a Niners fan, and I see things with Trey Lance, and I see Trey Lance as being like just kind of like a good prospect at quarterback. But when you hear about it, then maybe it's indirect and they don't know that they're doing it. But Trey Lance, he's got that RPO option now. Like, no, he's a quarterback. He's not even that fast. Like he's just a quarterback. But inherently, there's things that always get labeled with a lot of the black quarterbacks and I think it gets into their head too. I think I heard EJ Manuel, or maybe it was even Deshaun in that interview, saying like, "Oh, if you ask me, it seemed like he was overcompensating for how much he likes to throw the football." And like, why does that even have to be a discussion? Like, let me just play quarterback. If you run, you run. If I throw the ball, I throw the ball. And do you see that with some of these quarterbacks and the discussions that you have, that they tailor their game, they overcompensate their game to being a pocket guy to prove that they can be that, as opposed to just letting their natural ability take them from play to play? Like, do they feel that pressure to overcompensate in the traditional sense of a quarterback?
Well, first of all, let me apologize because my son was going to football practice, so he just walked behind us as we were doing this.
That's all. Is he a quarterback?
No, he's a wide receiver. But I'm with you. I definitely think. I definitely know for a fact that in the past, like, pioneers did that. James Shaq Harris, who was the first black quarterback to start in a playoff game and to start a week 1 opener. I mean, he told me like he never felt himself in the NFL because he never allowed himself to play the way he did in college. He went to Grambling. He never allowed himself to play that way because he was always fearful if he played the way that he was most successful, they might not let him continue to play. Now, I'll say the guys in today's guys, no, I think they let it rip. They do what they do. They play their style of play within whatever the offense is that their teams are running. But yeah, the Pioneers did not have like room for error. Okay, they did not have the ability to say, well, all right, the coach is telling me to do this, but I'm gonna do it a different way. I'm gonna do it the way I did it in college, and I know that's the best way to do it. So I totally hear what you're saying about tailoring it. And in the past, without a doubt. Nowadays, no. Now these guys, they do what they do because listen, they got all this guaranteed money. They're the faces of the team. They know they can't pull them out because they're paying them this way. So yeah, they do what they do. But in the past, without a doubt, that did happen.
We could do this all day. I'm sure you have a million more of these to do, man. We can't thank you enough. Thank you for your words. Thank you for the book. It really is incredible. Rise of the Black Quarterback. Before we say goodbye, you spent some time as a Dodgers beat writer.
Yeah.
Anything you can share with us about any interactions you had with Vin Scully during your time?
Yeah, I actually posted about this on Facebook today. When I was a very young reporter working for the LA Times, I got promoted to cover the Dodgers, and in LA, you can imagine how big of a job it is covering the Dodgers. And I was scared out of my mind. I mean, I was a kid. I was really worried, was I going to be able to do this job? And one of my first days at Dodger Stadium, someone introduced me to Vin Scully, who I'd grown up listening to, and he could not have been nicer. I mean, this guy, he was already in the Hall of Fame, probably multiple Hall of Fames at that point. Just this icon, not just in broadcasting, but in baseball and in the country. And, I'm introduced to him, and I admit it now, I was nervous, and he was just asking about my background and, and the things that I had done. And I'm just standing there not saying a word. And he picked up on it. He sensed it. And he just was saying all these nice things to me about what he had heard about me and what a great opportunity this was. And, anytime I need to talk to him, stop by the booth. And he shook my hand and he walked away. And fellas, I'm telling you, I don't think I said 2 words the whole time. But, as the years went by and I covered the team for 7 years, Vin was nothing but, couldn't have been more accommodating, couldn't have been more classy. On the road, the writers, like on the Sunday games on the road, we all have breakfast together, and Vin would stop by and at the table and talk to us. And, in rain delays, Vin would come out and tell stories. Like there's nothing like Vin Scully, for anybody who's heard him, he tells these great stories on the air. Mm-hmm. Well, imagine, sitting at dinner with him and he's telling these stories. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite, and I know I'm getting long-winded here. I'm going to.
You're good. You're good.
The Dodgers during the time I covered them, we'd all go out to dinner, like the executives and the writers and the broadcasters, and like there's nothing like you sit at a table with Vin and you could literally listen to him talk for hours. He'd talk about the old Brooklyn Dodgers days, and he'd talk about Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale, but he just wouldn't talk about them. He would tell these stories, and the way his voice was, and he was just a very kind man. I had an opportunity back in those days when I covered the team trained in Vero Beach, Florida at Dodgertown. They don't do that anymore, but you go from LA to Florida, Vero Beach, and there was this bar at the team complex, and Vinny and Tom Lasorda and Don Drysdale when he was still alive, they'd come in there and they'd tell these stories about the 60s and the 70s and what the team was doing, and everybody always just wanted to hear what Vin had to say. And he was class. He was class. And I hadn't talked to Vin in years, and I had not seen him in years. And I wish I would have told him how much what he did that day, the first day I met him, how much it meant to me. But I didn't do it. And life moves fast, and we always think we're going to have time to do things, and it doesn't always work out that way. But he was an incredible man, much more than a broadcaster. He was an incredible man, and my heart goes out to his family today. And just want to say rest in peace.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Well, we're glad you had time to share that story and time to write this book, man. Again, it's incredible. Rise of the Black Quarterback. You spent a ton of time with us, man. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And again, congratulations on the book.
Awesome.
Hey, brothers, thank you all for having me. Appreciate y'all. Thank you all for having me.
absolutely. That's a brother Jason Reid right there. The book is called Rise of the Black Quarterback. You can get it anywhere. You know where to get it. Wherever you get books from. Get it. Also, Rise for Landscape. I want to make sure we point that out also. He's a regular contributor over on Anscape. So follow him on social, do all of that stuff. I feel like there's so much more we could have dove into outside of the quarterback position. I really felt like we could have kept him here all day talking about, as he was talking, and we were talking about the position of the quarterback in that sense of like, okay, we've, with the Deshaun versus Patrick Mahomes, like I think we finally have overcome this. And, he writes a lot about the thinking positions in the NFL and how that was not reserved for black people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's still one top thinking position that appears to not be reserved for black people that we didn't get to talk to about it. And part of me wonders, does the NFL look at it like, we gave him the quarterback position. What else do they want? We ain't giving him the head coaching spot too.
Mm-hmm. And the crazy thing about that is, because I think that's a very real thing. Look at how successful somebody like Mike Tomlin is. Lovie Smith, talked about him. Got the Bears to the Super Bowl. Tony Dungy. It's not like there haven't been successful black head coaches.
Well, and the sad part is that all of those coaches you saying, they're all tied together.
Mm-hmm.
So when Tony Dungy walks away, it's like, oh man, kind of the root of that tree just stepped away. Oh, Herm Edwards is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh. Now Lovey's gone. And now all of a sudden that those branches on that tree, they fallen off. They're gone.
Yeah.
And that's why Lovie Smith is so important. That's why Brian Flores is so important. That's why Mike Tomlin, who gave Brian Flores a job? Mike Tomlin. That's why that stuff is so, that's why it's so important. That's why representation is so important. You hire the people you're around. You hire the people that you know. Shoot, nobody seems to, bat an eye. Bill Belichick's kids got jobs. Like you look around the league, you see how many coaches' kids have jobs. This isn't a knock at Kyle Shanahan at all. But that's part of the game, right? You hire the people that you're around. You hire the people that are close to you. You hire the people you want to give a shot. And sometimes with Wiper, that tends to be Wiper. Sometimes that's why, man, I guess I'm just going to keep saying this. That's why Tom Brady's gross, dude.
Mm.
You look at what Bruce Arians did in Tampa Bay, and right now there is no indication that Tom Brady did anything but run Bruce Arians out of town.
Right.
You look at the way Bruce Arians built his staff. Bruce Arians, one of the few guys who offered opportunity to people.
Absolutely.
And we just gloss over this when we talk about Tom Brady.
Yeah.
At some point, there's going to be a real 30 for 30 done on Tom Brady where someone's going to dig into all of this dirt around him.
Bruce Arians has done that a couple of times. He did it with his tenure in Arizona. Got Todd Bowles a head coaching job, giving him the opportunity to be the defensive coordinator, and got him a head coaching job with the Jets. And then when he was tossed aside there, Bruce Arians is right there to bring him back and give him another opportunity, man. So, yeah, Tom looked funny in the light. Tom looks real funny in the light.
Man. Jesse just forwarded us a note. Judy Batista says a source, and this is no surprise to anyone, a source familiar with the appeal says the NFL is again seeking a full year suspension for Deshaun Watson. This is something that couldn't have been out the realm of their thought process because of the way they structured their contract. I do believe their contract was structured for a short. Their contract was structured for a suspension within this first year. Mm-hmm. And if it was 2 games, 6 games, 8 games, 17 games, the impact on his overall money was going to be minimal. I think Jesse pulled up the numbers for us yesterday, and he's making like $600,000 this year. Right. A $30 million guaranteed contract. 600,000 this year. That is by design. I'm not knocking it. That's a smart agent. That's an agent recognizing. That's an agent knowing the temperature of the water. But none of this should be a surprise, and it will certainly be interesting how this goes. I'll be anxious to read this. Tom Pelissero, I think, posted this while we were talking to Jason about how this could wind up in federal court. it's a muddy situation that just got muddier.
Yeah. And this is, and I'm interested to see how Deshaun and those guys go about it, and even the NFLPA, because like I said, there's a part of me, and I don't know if this is being a good lawyer or anything like that. There's part of me that would at least advise or like present the option to Deshaun Watson of just take what they give you. Just take it. You already had the trap door in there with your contract. Not going to lose a whole lot of money. I know it's for you, your mind. It stinks. But it can be so much worse if you keep trying to fight this thing. Just take it, sit the year out, come back next year, be the highest paid player in quarterback, or highest paid quarterback in the league, player in the league. I wonder if those discussions are being had with Deshaun Watson's camp and with the NFLPA.
I don't know. Yeah, I think we're going to learn a lot. I think we're going to learn a lot over the course of, I assume, the next few weeks. I don't know how truly long this can drag on. I know the NFL Players Association has to respond within the next 2 days. I'm not exactly sure what they're responding to,
Right.
But those, those are the mandates out there.
Jesse asked a question. He said, "Can you lose out on a signing bonus because of this? His base salary is $690,000, but his signing bonus was nearly $9 million." I asked you, and you would have a better understanding. Wouldn't that be up to the Browns, the signing bonus?
Yep.
Yeah.
And if I bring in the Michael Vick conversation, I believe that's the money they went after was money he was already paid when he was with the Atlanta Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe the simple answer is no. The more long-term answer is that the Cleveland could go after it, but why would they? It would be a court process for them to go out. But again, why would they? They knew this.
Mm-hmm.
They knew this was a possibility. The reason his signing bonus is $9 million versus, what did Debo get, like 25? What DK get, 30? Because the rest of his contract is a base salary of massive guaranteed money.
Right. You
get him $9 million to get comfortable this year because he's going to miss out on money. The question is how much? Well, 690,000 is what he's staring at right now. And this isn't about this isn't about money anymore. It never was about Deshaun Watson. Once he got signed by Cleveland, this is just about his ability to get on the football field.
Mm-hmm.
And what I ask, at what point does he address this? Does he truly address this? Like, does he continue to ride? It's our guy. I love him too. But is he just going full Barry Bonds and denying this till death?
Mm.
Is that what we're doing? Like, I love Barry Bonds, but I'm not stupid. I get it. I know what I saw. My issue with Barry has always been, it's not like he's the only one.
Right.
The whole goddamn league was doing it.
Right. You ain't gonna pin all this on me.
Right, exactly. He's going Nino Brown. Like, if he ever does, he'll. I guess in that case, it's
Barry Bonds. If I'm going down, there's a whole lot of other people that's going down with me.
That's right. Is he just gonna continue to say this over and over and over again? Is he, or will he ever do what the Haslams seem to think he already did and show remorse for this?
Yeah,
and it's a fine line when you do that. And I'll bring up Kobe Bryant. Kobe said in that press conference next to Vanessa, he said, I know now we didn't see that night the same. A lot of people to this day will insist that is an admission of guilt.
Mm-hmm.
That's never how I took it. But he also felt like he had to say something that was sensitive to her in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to, there's no easy way to do this. There was no easy way for Kobe. And there's a lot of people to this day that don't forgive Kobe for that. And if that's it, hey, I get it.
Yep.
Deshaun, the same thing. If you're going to address it, you're going to have to go all in one way or another.
And
because people are going to hear what they want to hear.
It goes back to what I said earlier. I get the feeling. I obviously haven't talked to Deshaun Watson, so I don't know. But I get the feeling part of the problem is he doesn't think he really believes that there's nothing wrong with what happened.
Yeah.
Like, and that's, now what do you do? Like, because he's sitting there like, I don't know why you guys are tripping. I didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
So now what do you do?
Jesse shut me up really quick because he just forwarded me this tweet from Jeff Darlington. I'm told NFL is appealing for an indefinite suspension that would be a minimum of 1 year, but perhaps more significant given the structure of Watson's contract. Sources tell me the NFL's appeal will also include a monetary fine. So literally seconds after I said money is not a factor in this, Jeff Darlington says, money is now a significant part of the equation.
He said, hold on, player.
Yeah, let me holler at you, player. We really hope you enjoyed that conversation with Jason Reid. That was just tremendous for us. And we do understand people don't necessarily love conversations that include phrases like black people and white people, and is this black person less threatening than that black person? But they're conversations that, if you've been with the show the last 2 years, you know we love to have them. And we certainly loves talking to someone as educated on the subject as Jason Reid is. So again, that book is called Rise of the Black Quarterback. We hope you check that out. We still got much more ahead. We'll continue to talk about this situation with Deshaun Watson. We got James Ham coming up at the top of the 3 o'clock hour. We never did get to what Zach Harper said about the Sacramento Kings and the Athletic. That's all coming up here as D'Lo and Casey continue. Brought to you by McQueen and the Violet Fog, the smoothest gin in the world, handcrafted in Brazil on ESPN 1320. Biggest home run of the damn week right there.
Yeah.
Oof. I'm gonna be honest, y'all could probably leave now. Show ain't gonna get, roll credits because that was
phenomenal.
That was the main event. That was the main event.
Let me see what.
Oh yeah, we'll get Joe. Yep. Oh, you switch back, Casey?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, glad you guys enjoyed it. Appreciate you, Chester. David J. Appreciate you. Pragmatic pessimist. That's a lot. Oh, thanks, Allison. Good stuff, man. Yeah, that stuff about Vin Scully was great. And that seems to be 100% of what people say. Like, it's not like, oh, this person had everyone says the same thing about him.
Yeah.
And that's awesome to hear. Awesome. No. Action Jackson, I love you, buddy. I do. I love you to death. Well, we'll give James Ham some time. James not here for an hour, so we'll the Divas match is coming up next.
The Divas, the
Bella Twins, the Bella Twins are coming up next.
Natty is going to be is in a match coming up next.
Yeah, poor Natty.
Natty's done a bit of a 180 on her whole persona.
I like it though.
I do too.
I like it. Yeah, I like it.
She's handling it. She's handling it pretty well. Like the whole heel and a little edgier.
Yeah, it's good.
I just remember on Total Divas when she beat up, what was the girl's name? Not Sunny. It was the blonde hair girl. Oh, what was her name? She beat her up in front of Natty was at her own house, and the girl came up to the house to like apologize, and Natty like slapped her.
Oh my God. I must have missed that. I did watch it. I'm not going to pretend like I didn't watch some of it. What was the other show that, it was
Summer
the Bellas.
Rae. That's who it was.
Oh Lord. Good knowledge. I don't even remember which one Summer Rae was.
She smacked up Summer Rae.
Oh, okay. I remember her. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I watched maybe not religiously, but I remember maybe the first 2 seasons of Total Divas. It was whatever. You saw them in a different setting. Naomi and who was the other Funkadelic? Oh, why am I forgetting her name?
Wait, what? Say it again.
The other Funkadelic, the other black girl, Naomi and she actually made a comeback. I think it won.
Naomi.
Was it Carmen?
Is it?
I think she came back at like Royal Rumble or something.
Funk is on the roll. Funk is on the roll. What was my man's name? He was Snoop's bodyguard.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, big dude was Snoop. What was he? Was the Brontosaurus? What was Funkasaurus? He was the Funkasaurus.
Cameron. Good knowledge, everybody. Yeah. Cameron and Naomi.
So, you're right. Good call.
And Cameron's boyfriend was on. And that was pretty funny that first year of Total Divas.
Yes, this is actually correct. We talk about Total Divas during the commercial breaks. What do you do during the commercial breaks? You don't talk about Total Divas? We go from talking about black quarterbacks to Total Divas. We needed a let me up moment there during that commercial break. You're listening to D-Lo and Casey on KIFM West Sacramento, KRXQ HD2 Sacramento, ESPN 1320, driven by Lashers, Elk Grove Dodge, always live on the free Odyssey app. If you missed that conversation with Jason Reid, you can check out our podcast, available wherever you get podcasts from, Apple, Spotify, Odyssey, whatever it is. Search D-Lo and Casey, hit the subscribe button, hit the 5-star button if you're on Apple or Spotify. That goes a really, really long way in helping that podcast get noticed outside our circle here. And remember, most important part, Jesse can't eat unless you download the podcast.
Gotta eat.
Jesse,
real quick, because there's other things we'll talk about. But one thing that I thought about with this Deshaun Watson situation is, I know it's collectively bargained, but I still think the NFLPA they're gonna do something, whether it's sue or appeal on their own or whatever to a federal court, whatever the case may be. That probably means Deshaun Watson plays week 1.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
He's going to be out there until this thing is settled.
And
full of Houston Texans, which I don't see coming.
They absolutely will not do no such thing. Especially if they're facing a year suspension. Now you run into some. You have to start thinking about. Sorry, man. This is the gross part of all of this. You have to start thinking about a strategy if you're the Cleveland Browns.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do that and let this play out and risk it going the way that Ezekiel Elliott did, where Ezekiel Elliott was suspended like 6 games well into the season? But what we would be talking about here, at least as it appears to stand right now, is you would be talking about a suspension through this season into the next one if you played games this year. You have to start weighing the possibility of maybe we approach this differently.
You sit them out, and
not sit them out, you take the suspension.
Well, We'll take the
You
suspension.
can't sit him out. Like
Well, I would say this, and this is a strategy maybe the lawyers could have. If you don't have him play while he's appealing and say it doesn't work, maybe they could look at the NFL and look at the games they didn't have him play, even though he could have legally played, as time served.
It's dicey.
Yeah.
You better have some outline with someone that's a possibility, because that's I mean, you could probably use the 17 game line as it stands now, though no one thinks that'll fly. 916-349-1320. What's up, Joe?
Hey, what's up, D-Lo, Casey? How you guys doing?
Is this Mac Jones, Joe?
No, this is. I'm a newer caller, a newer listener.
It's New Joe. What's up, New Joe?
New Joe, what's up, man?
Yeah, there we go. D-Lo, Casey, how you guys doing?
Good, man. How you doing, Joe?
I'm all right. Just got off work. Man, you guys are good. That's exactly the point I was bringing up. You know, NFLPAs, they're going to end up suing. They already said that they would prior to, Goodell and the NFL appealing this whole process. They said they're going to appeal it themselves, and it just came through on ESPN that they are going to do so. My question was, how is it going to relate? Like, is it going to be the same way that Ezekiel Elliott, played out? And you guys just touched on that while I was on hold there. So
no, it's a great question, Joe. We appreciate you, man, and thanks for listening and finally calling, man. You should call more often. New Joe, right there. I like it.
Joe.
It becomes a football question at this point. If you're Cleveland, what is the best thing for our franchise? And I mean, you've made your bed. This was your choice.
Yeah.
You went out there and you signed Deshaun Watson to this deal. You went out there and got Deshaun Watson. You went out there, you invited all of this. So no one's going to feel bad for you.
Right.
Or certainly no one outside of Cleveland is going to feel bad for you. So these are just conversations you have to that you have to be prepared to deal with. And again, no matter what the outcome of this, no one is going to feel bad for you.
Mm-hmm.
You invited all of this.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're doing a radio show here, so we don't have Adam Schefter's talking points running through our ears as he's on ESPN. But there's a tweet out there that says Adam Schefter, and this was tweeted just literally a couple of minutes ago. Adam Schefter, who has a very direct line to Deshaun Watson's camp, just said on ESPN, he has been adamant and steadfast in his belief that he doesn't believe he did anything wrong. I rewind to the Haslam statement yesterday where they insisted that Deshaun Watson was remorseful. What are we doing right now, man?
It's crazy that they could even say that, because I, who have not talked to Deshaun Watson, all I had to do was do some reading.
Doesn't take much.
Quotes. I'd be like, this guy doesn't think he did anything wrong.
Doesn't take much.
For them to sit there and say, yeah, he's clearly remorseful. Of what? And who are you talking to? Are you talking to the fake Deshaun Watson? Can't be talking to the real one.
Is he out there with the fake Drake?
Can't be talking to the real one.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't think I've ever seen an NFL story be so an NFL story like this. Just, it's all over the place. Like no one can decide what story they're going with. Adamant denial or remorseful. Look, if y'all gonna lie, get on the same page,
please.
Isn't this how a group of dumb criminals gets caught? No one can keep the story straight.
Right.
If y'all gonna go out there and fabricate this story to the NFL world, at least get your dumbasses on the same page and stop treating us like we're the stupid ones.
That's why they split you guys up when they interrogate you.
Right. You messed up, right? Because you just said you got the juice. You went into the liquor store.
No, I went to the liquor store. I got the juice. I don't know, man.
You know you messed up, right? I'm paraphrasing because I can't say it the way I want to. Oh man. I'm just looking at different Deshaun Watson quotes. It's incredible. Just incredible. And like Stefanski, a second-year head coach?
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome to the NFL, pal. Because you've got to answer questions for this. Because Lord knows the Haslam's ain't going to get in front of the microphone.
No. This is a team in Cleveland who had some promise.
They got a roster.
Yeah, they got
a roster.
You got one of the best players, not just defensive players, one of the best players in the game in Myles Garrett. You know, they got the weapons, they got the running backs, and it's just turned into a mess. And like you mentioned earlier, they did it to themselves.
Yeah.
They voluntarily brought all this on themselves. I can't believe they did that. I don't want to say like nobody would ever make a move for Deshaun Watson for the rest of his career, but I can't believe the Browns were like, yeah, let's go get him. And let's go pay him. Let's go for the gusto with Deshaun Watson.
Well, you know what that speaks to? Speaks to a couple of things. One, you do anything, you'll do anything to win. You win at all cost. Two, he's that good. Deshaun's that good. That's it. Like, think about he's that good. What was all of the talk about NFL teams don't want distractions? Remember that? Remember that storyline, that cute look? Oh, and what NFL team is going to want to deal with a distraction? Oh, excuse me, because this certainly isn't distracting from anything.
And I agree with you. He's that good. I agree with you, but he ain't that good.
No, I strongly disagree. Apparently he is, and this isn't even my opinion at this point.
Right.
Look at what they're putting themselves through.
They don't make good decisions. They never have.
It's not even a question of whether it's a good. Like they ain't no doubt about that.
They never have, because even as good as he is, remember the season we talk about, team went like 4-12.
But again, that's how good he was. He threw for damn near 5,000 yards, 40 touchdowns on a team that went 4-12. He put up those numbers on a team that was that bad.
Mm-hmm.
With that coach.
Yeah.
Shout out B.O.B.
B.O.B. Shout out to him.
Back. Right after the break. We'll have tickets to see the Wu-Tang Clan because they are, in fact, nothing to mess with. Yeah. So we'll have those tickets for you when we get back. We'll probably get into the King. At this point, it's really dumb for me to tell you what's coming up. We'll just talk about whatever. Total Divas on the way here on ESPN 1320. All right. Be right back. You doing the show?
Yeah, I got it. Let's get down here. "13th round" with your main man, Kenny Caraway. Shout out to Ryan, all the people over at Meister Watches. Those are my people, you know that. Shout out Jovan too. I want to talk a little bit today about what everybody's talking about. You know, people ask me to talk about it all the time, and I say, you know what, it's going to get done. It's going to happen. We don't have to worry. I'll talk about it when the time comes. And that's Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford. And saw some type of tweet today or soundbite today where they asked Terrence about the fight, and he says something to the effect of, "Oh no, you know, we're gonna get it done. We love to see it. We want to get the people what they want to see. We want to fight. We want to make it happen." And he says something that kind of had people. It sparked people's thought process and connected with their antennas when he said, "Yeah, you know, we want to make that happen and get that done down the road." Down the road. Excuse me. He then followed it up by saying, you know, we want that right away. or down the road. You make sure to get the right of way in there. But down the road, that's something nobody wanted to hear. We don't want Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford down the road. We need Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford right now. Both guys are saying the right things. Both guys are saying they want the fight. There's really nowhere else for either one of them to go. They need to do what they got to do to make the fight. Then you look at somebody like Terrence Crawford. I hate to sound this way because, look, I like both fighters. I want them both to get it done. But if you're Terrence Crawford, if they're talking about 60-40, man, take the 40. Take the 40. Yeah, we know you're a champion. You got one belt. He's got 3. Take the 40. If you got to take less now, take the 40 and then set up a rematch clause where if you win, you're the A side in the rematch clause. But just take the fight. Take the fight. This is the biggest fight you'll ever have in your career. Take it, get it done, and start your legacy right now. Hopefully they take care of business relatively soon. That's the 13th round. Yeah, they let him marinate, which isn't the worst. And they let him cook too long, though. Exactly. That's got to happen now. The time is now. Because if you're playing this right, if there was some type of commission or something like that, some president, some commissioner of boxing, you can get 3 fights in. You can get 3 fights. So if you handle it now, you can get 3 fights. While I would love to see it right now, like you said, I could understand them even waiting another year for Davis Garcia. I could understand it. Right. Spence and Crawford are like 33, 34. And that's the sad part. I don't think none of these guys are going anywhere anytime soon. That's it. That's it.
A good call. Good call there, Mac. That was right at the end of the show.
The ELP firing celebration.
Was that a 2-hour show? I can't remember if that was a 2 or a 4-hour show. Man, this show has come a long way. Goodness.
It's just the beginning, too.
Live on the Odyssey app. Live on twitch.tv/ESPN1320, youtube.com/ESPN1320. All week long, we have your tickets to see the Wu-Tang Clan October 2nd at the Toyota Amphitheater, and we have got your tickets right now. Summers Live is here. Get 4 tickets for $80 all in to select shows in the Sacramento area. Tickets are available from now until August 9th at livenation.com/Summers Live. They're available while supplies last. Wu-Tang Clan, October 2nd, Toyota Amphitheater. Caller number 3 right now, 916-349-1320. Hey. The guy, we don't do them old gimmicks. Caller number 1,320 right now.
Remember you told me you got to take every call.
We used to have to do caller 102. And it was finally my boss realized this is dumb. We're going to do caller number 25. And you would count one. You'd have to count them through. You couldn't go 10, 20, 30, 40. Like how you had to.
How would that answer go? Be like, hello, you're caller 1. Click. Like, was it that?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And it was a 5-line setup, and you would just go from one to the other, to the other, to the other. Someone finally realized counting to 102 was a massive waste of time.
Wow. Man, y'all must have been playing. That must have been when you're going commercial free.
It was a call. It was a hit the cue to call every hour, every weekend. You had a chance to win whatever the prize was.
I never won.
We'll find out soon because I think D'Lo and Casey are going to debut on KSFM soon.
Yeah, man.
Just in my head there.
we have a little fun. You guys will never know exactly what we're talking about, but this is so funny. I just want to see your reaction here. Did you get that email from Jeff about like asking us, hey, you guys want to talk to this guy?
Talk to that person. Yeah. I saw that. Yeah. That will upset some people. Yeah. Because I got it during the show, and I was immediately like, yeah, let's do that. The funny part is, if this happens, when it does, you'll know exactly who it'll all just like all of the pieces will fall into place, and you go, oh, I get it. Yep, makes sense. Makes sense.
Wait a minute, hold on. You go, yeah, well, no, we'll set it up. I'm looking at the dates. I'm like, you ain't gonna be here.
I didn't even look at the dates. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't look at the dates. I just looked at the name and went, "Yeah, let's do that."
Even if we have to zoom, put you on the stream or something.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, I ain't gonna be here. That's yours. That's all yours, buddy. That's your show. Congratulations. We're booking Kenny's show for when I'm out. It ain't gonna bother me. You do that. I'm gonna be in Brooklyn. I'm gonna be all over the place.
Oh, Brooklyn. Yeah, I gave a shot at the Barclays Center. I didn't mean to do that. I love Earth.
No, that's not. I did click over there and peep the chat during that conversation, and I think I saw that you're trying to trade Earth.
No. I love the Earth.
Oh, great. Now, Earth in Sacramento, boy, really?
I do.
Your words say one thing, your actions say something else.
Is there something else we could do to say that, or can you like manicure that? Have you seen it?
Oh man,
that roof of the Barclays Center,
Kenny,
like brown.
Real ones will get it, but Kenny about to turn into Cyclops. See, you don't get it. You probably won't for 17 years, but I guarantee if Miss P listening, she knows what I'm talking about. Kenny about to turn into Cyclops. Y'all know what time it is. Tag Kenny in the Cyclops skips. Oh, is it Recyclops? Okay. Recyclops. There it is. Recyclops. That's Kenny.
What the hell are they talking about?
Be spraying aerosol cans all over the place. I don't know why Kenny hates Earth. I don't know what Earth or Sacramento did to Kenny, but
oh, come on. And now they're in here. Okay, Mars show. Stop it.
About 4 hours ago, I mentioned that the Athletic made some power rankings. I don't know if anybody remembers that. That was right when the Deshaun Watson, the NFL appeal broke, and then we went into to Jason and spent like 45 minutes with him. So let's reset this whole thing. Zach Harper of The Athletic put out some preseason power rankings, and the Sacramento Kings fell into the tier 5 category of looking to make the play-in, with the Portland Trailblazers at 19.
That's kind of wild.
And it opens up with
this whole thing.
The Portland Trailblazers absolutely got better.
Come on, man.
It's kind of hard not to after
they did. They stunk.
It's kind of hard not to after the brutal end to the season they had. Do they have to prove they can make the play-in at least in a reloaded West? So you got Portland there at 19. The New York Knicks at 20. Interesting. The Washington Wizards at 21. The Charlotte Hornets at 22.
A little low.
The Utah Jazz at 23.
Come on, man.
Did this team get better? No. And they're trending toward getting even worse. Now we just wonder if Donovan Mitchell gets moved and where he gets moved. If when they do, number 23 is going to be way too high for this Jazz team. Number 24, your Sacramento Kings. Did this team get better? The Sacramento Kings did get better. Murray looks like a strong rookie, but rookies rarely make significant impacts on actually winning teams. The Herder pickup was a very savvy move of Monty McNair. However, trusting the Kings has rarely been a fruitful endeavor for anybody, so there needs to be hesitancy in trusting them to take a step forward. The Kings were not good after bringing Domantas Sabonis into the mix.
Huh?
The team can't defend when he and De'Aaron Fox are on the court, which sounds like a sample size issue until you see their efforts defensively for their respective careers. Mike Brown has a lot to fix on that end of the floor, and the Kings don't actually have a lot of personnel to make you feel like they can do that. However, the offense should be pretty good. Number 25 is the Detroit Pistons.
Now, come on, man. Come on, man. I mean, so look, I'm not gonna go off the deep end, because if you feel that way about the Kings or whatever, by all means. I disagree when he says they weren't good after they got Sabonis. I think with Sabonis, and I guess it's more so Sabonis and Fox. I think when you have both of them, weren't they 500 or a game under 500 or whatever? They were average. Like, I guess when you say not good, I look at them as talking about they're bad. I didn't think they were bad when Sabonis got there.
I don't recall their record. I don't feel like it was 500.
I feel like it might have been like 5 and 6. They only played like 10 games together.
Yeah, they didn't play many.
11 games.
Which why Zach blowing through the sample size was a bit perplexing, because it's like, no, the sample size feels important. 13 games with Sabonis. I just couldn't find a win-loss record. I just found De'Aaron's very impressive numbers. 27, 6, and 4.
Guess that doesn't matter.
Apparently not. I'm trying to figure out how many they won. I feel like this is a stat everybody knows by heart except for me. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll figure it out. Yeah. So you might have been right. You said, and I do not challenge your memory. You said one game under 500. Maybe that's what they were.
He came to the team he played Wednesday, February 9th. Fox got hurt against Milwaukee. So they won.
We're doing math here on the show. Don't worry about it. That's fine. We're just counting. It's all right. That's all right.
4 games, and they lost
9.
Yeah, 4-9. That's what it looks like.
Oh, that's not good. That is in fact not good.
No, Zach Harper was right.
Well, that hurts to say out loud. Damn. All right.
I mean, look, anybody who feels that way, that's fine. That's fine. The teams that he has ahead of him are teams that I wouldn't put that far ahead of the Kings. I wouldn't put the Jazz ahead of. I would not put the Kings around Detroit and Utah.
At least he did acknowledge that. Man, is this a playing team even with just Donovan Mitchell?
No.
I mean, they did bring in Patrick Beverley, Malik Beasley. I mean, it's not.
The Jazz are weak, man. First-year head coach.
Yeah, that should be put out there too.
He might be great, but if the Kings had a first-year head coach, they'd be questioning him. So I want the same energy kept.
Did he? Let's see. What did he say about Will Hardy? The swap of Quinn Snyder for Will Hardy on the sidelines will be a downgrade for now, but Hardy is very well respected around the NBA. So yeah, that's a tough one for me to see. That's tough for me to see. Like when we look at the East, when we look at the West, the Jazz just aren't a team that I see in this conversation.
No, I don't either. The Portland one was a little surprising.
Yeah.
I don't think Portland
same
is that good. You know, you got Dame Lillard and Anthony Simons, and everybody knows how much I love Anthony Simons. That's my guy right there. But Josh Hart and Jeremy Grant, like they're cool players, but you're gonna need them to be top flight players. You know, I don't know if that's the case. And Nurkic, he presents his own problems. The bench isn't really that strong. You got Nasir Little, you got Justice Winslow. I don't see much depth at all from Portland.
Yeah, you don't have to sell me. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not. I don't disagree with the fact like I like a lot of the pieces that they like. It's fine. I didn't get to see Shaden Sharp this summer. I'm curious how that works out. But I think what it really boils down to is everybody loves Dame Lillard, and I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah, Hall of Famer. He's phenomenal. But you talk about,
but can he carry a team? Because I feel like, unless I'm wrong, again, I think there are good pieces. There are good. That's fine. There are good pieces here. Dame's going to have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool y'all gave Yusuf Nurkic $70 million. I feel like that's been over for a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean,
like,
but maybe Dame the superhero is back.
I think if Portland is successful, everything would have to be perfect. They got no room for error. And maybe Dame is that good. Maybe Anthony Simons, who's my guy, is really that dude. But he'd have to play the basketball of his life. Jason Hart would have to defend with those two, with Dame and Anthony on the perimeter. Jason Hart would have to turn into modern day Tony Allen on the defensive end. Jeremy Grant would have to be a combination of his uncle, Horace, Dennis Rodman, and Draymond Green. Like they all have to play the best basketball they've ever played. And maybe they will, but
Jesse says you have to put $1 in the swear jar every time you say Jason Hart.
I said Jason. Sorry, Josh. Sorry, Josh. Yeah, I don't know. Portland, I don't think they're going to be
all right. Jason's doing good things too. That's all right.
Even when I say that about Portland, I don't think they're going to be like down there with Houston and OKC. Like they're going to be around, but I think them and the Kings are on the same plane, kind of right next to each other. I don't think Portland and Sacramento,
I agree,
is down there with where I think Utah is.
I agree. If nothing else, yeah, I absolutely agree with that. If nothing else, I feel like Portland might be able to send a little bit quicker than Sacramento, because they'll get the benefit of the doubt. Like if Portland starts out strong, it's like, okay, there they are. And again, I think we are putting a lot of this season on De'Aaron Fox for Sacramento. Again, there's no seat. Like this is Dame's squad, and it's a retooled squad. It's a little bit younger, not like a big dramatic makeover, but your backcourt mate is gone. You've got your boy Anthony there, and I just think you love dudes named Anthony. That's just my.
There's nothing wrong with that either. Those are Anthony Simons, Anthony Hardaway. It's all right every time. 2 for 2.
Yeah, you got a new backcourt mate there, so it's going to be a little bit different, and I think it's also like we use that line that nothing is as bad or as good as the last time you saw it. Like if we saw something that was really bad the last time, that's how we remember it being really, really bad, or we remember it being really, really good, depending on whatever the circumstance was. It's usually an exaggeration of whichever one it was at the time. Portland, I don't think is nearly as bad as that season concluded, but I don't see them back in the mix either. And maybe in this again, let's not ignore the tier. The tier was competing for the play-in. Maybe that's very well what Portland is a team that's competing for the play-in. And there were a couple of 3. So New York, Washington, and Charlotte. Those are 3 Eastern Conference teams
Right.
that were put above Sacramento in these power rankings.
And to be perfectly honest, Washington's another one that I'm not sure why they're up there, but I would put Portland behind the Knicks and Charlotte. Like if you want them closer to the Kings, I'm not saying move the Kings up. I'm moving Portland back. The real ranking probably should be. I'll fix this right now.
Okay.
It really should be. I'd say Charlotte at 19, the Knicks at 20. I'll put the Kings at 21, the Blazers at 22, and the Wizards at 23. Jazz probably go. Jazz 24, Pistons 25. There you go. Fixed it.
Question, back of the class. Hi,
Mhm.
Damien, big fan. Why are the Knicks at 20 again?
I think the Knicks are better than
I don't care.
Yeah,
I'm not even talking about in relation to the Kings. I'm just talking about.
I think they're better than those other teams. I think they're better.
Okay.
Brunson, RJ, Randall. Yes,
I got questions, bro.
Oh, they're very fair.
I got questions.
Very fair. Very fair. You want to know an NBA hot take? Possibly. Some may look at this as a hot take.
Let's go.
I think Memphis falls back this year. I think people are anointing them as like,
okay.
You know, Memphis is going to be up there. They were the 2 seed last year.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll be the 2 seed this year.
Okay, so define falls back though. That you're just defining that as they're not the 2 seed?
They're not the 2 seed. That's one. I see them more around a 4 or 5 seed, and they may not make it out of the first round.
Okay. I'm good with that. I actually said we were on the same wavelength. I said something while you were partying in Las Vegas. Or sorry, you weren't partying, you were crying. You were crying in Las Vegas.
Got a little emotional.
You got a little emotional. You got your Willie Green on in Las Vegas after criticizing Willie Green for an entire offseason.
Nah, Willie Green he was doing too much.
That he was not. I feel you. I took it a step further of like, okay, is there a new Memphis? And I wonder if that's Minnesota. Could Minnesota be the team that everyone looks at this year and is like, oh, they took that jump? But I'm with you in the sense I don't think Memphis is again a 2 seed. I don't think they're a 56 win team again this year. I don't think they ascend and get better. I still think they're very, very good. I think they're absolutely must watch. And I'm with you in the sense of the, potential 3 or 4 landing or, 4. Yeah, sure. 3 or 4 landing spot for them. I guess probably be more like 4 if I think Minnesota is going to catapult up. I still think Golden State is good. Phoenix, I think, is a bit of a wild card, just in the sense of what is Phoenix going to do for an entire season. I do think there are some psychological ramifications to winning 64 games and losing in the playoffs, not getting even to the conference finals, certainly not getting to the NBA finals. Also,
the way I know it was 1 game, but the way you lost,
that was bad. Yeah, and then
big of a moment.
Well, and then you didn't exactly have the most kumbaya off season, and then there was the weird story about like all of the Suns had COVID in Game 7. Like there were all of these just like it wasn't the most normal offseason for Phoenix. And then you've got the KD rumors, like stuff like that's gotta take effect. Like, I don't know. Again, the team is still super talented. Where are they emotionally and where are they I think in more than in any other sport, this thing is true in the NBA. Let's go out there. Let's win games. Let's play ball. But we're concerned about the postseason.
Yeah.
We won 64 games last year and it didn't get us anywhere.
Yeah.
It didn't get us where we wanted to go.
Absolutely.
Where we needed to go.
You know the other hot take that I have? I think the Clippers are going to be near the top of the Western Conference.
You wasn't doing nothing but listening to me while you was in Vegas.
That's what happened?
That's what I said.
Okay. I didn't know
I
you
like it. Like, that's why we're partners.
I didn't know you were big on the Clippers. I thought it was a one-man wolf pack with that.
No, don't turn your back on the wolf pack. Absolutely not. No, we're in sync with a lot of this.
My guy Ty Lue leading the way.
Well, now you're just a flat out liar, but it's fine. Like, I'm with the bit. Like, you got to clean it up. Like, it's fine. He could be your guy now. Yeah, I'm absolutely of the belief this Clippers team is, but they let the fans down so often. They're fans. Well, or they're supporters.
They actually do have some fans.
They let the people who believe in them down so regularly. This isn't the first time I've thought the Clippers are gonna shoot. Didn't I pick the Clippers to go in the finals like 2 years ago?
Yeah, I might have done it too. I think I did it too.
Yeah, like
I can't put any faith in them actually getting it done, but I think they'll get to the conference finals at least this year.
I think I'm with you. I think they're absolutely an NBA finals contender.
Hey, what did Aisha Curry say? That wasn't even funny. What did you say? The Kings, they're so hot because they don't have any fans.
Yeah, the Golden One Center is. I think she said, "Why is where the Kings play so hot? Because they don't have any fans."
Womp womp.
Are you just thinking of all of the stuff you missed while you were in Vegas? And
no, because I questioned the Clippers fans, and that reminded me of what Aisha Curry said. Womp womp.
It was dumb, but it was fine. I mean, there's a lot of things you can make fun of the Kings for. I don't know that not having fans.
I like Aisha Curry. I really do. But it's like we talk about passes and everything. Remember when she said the NBA was rigged when the Warriors lost?
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess the NBA is not rigged no more.
Yeah. You know who else said it was rigged? You know, T.O. said the NBA was rigged one time.
When did he say that?
I think it was the Warriors Cavs, the 2016, the 72, the 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the year he said it was rigged. I have to remember. He said it to me. He was here. But yeah, he thought it was rigged. I used to get it. And you know, the first thing I thought of when they were doing the jokes on the ESPYs was like, okay, that's cool. So like when fan bases go at you, you just kind of got to take it because you're not. It's not like you're just a player's wife. Like you're out there, like you're a part of it.
Right.
Like you're a part of the show.
Cracking the jokes, you're having a good time, and it's cool. But
yeah, it's all good.
Don't be crying when people come back at you. Actually, respectfully, we don't have to call out her name or nothing, but just when they got their jokes too, you got to take it.
Same series, June 16th, 2016. I've lost all respect for this. I'm just going to read the words that are in front of me. I've lost all respect. Sorry, this is absolutely rigged for money or ratings. I'm in not sure which. That's what it says. I won't be silent. Just saw it live. Sorry. She obviously was tweeting in great anger because there's no punctuation and no. Yeah, she let that one fire. Has this tweet been deleted, Jesse? Oh, okay. All right. We'll come back. Yeah, that's right. Screenshot, screen grab forever. There is something worth pointing out on there, which we will. James Ham joins us next here on ESPN 1320. That's what I'm saying. Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, we'll get Ramsey. Oh shoot, what did I do? Yeah, if you're gonna tell jokes, putting yourself out there, you just gotta own it. Man, I am forgetting to do everything this week, man. I'm struggling. Goodness gracious, dummy. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us, man. Thank you for being here. Getting through these summer months, baby. Getting through these summer months. Yeah, she had a Papa Bagley moment for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, thank you. I definitely did not think that the ESPN team of writers for that show wrote the jokes. Thank you. No one ever goes, man, Jay Leno's writers were really offensive for what they said. Jimmy Fallon's writing team was just way out of line. Let's go. Yeah, let's get them likes. We always got to have the likes, man. We need them. Thumbs up, baby. Thumbs up. We'll always have fun, man. No matter. There's 1,000 people in here, or 231. We got to get them likes. Appreciate you, man. It was that. I promise you, it was not a work. Some of it was a work. We were playing up the angle. I did think it would be fun to do the CM Punk bit on Friday, though, and just throw the little belt over my shoulder, and it would have been funny. It would have been funny. At least it would have been funny to us, because I was just gonna throw it over my shoulder, kiss, and then just. Mm-hmm. Could have really played it up. Yeah, we could have played it up. Oh, man. What's going on in wrestling? I did not watch. I heard Raw was good, actually. Yeah, highest rated show in 2 years. I meant to put it on in the background. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it at all. Any like direction changes or? Oh, okay. Oh boy. Oh, what could this mean? WrestleMania Goes Hollywood launch party 1 week from tomorrow. WrestleMania 39. Does The Rock show up at the launch party? I would it really say better if it's would it really be better if it said lunch party? Then it would say Lanch. I do not ever remember them doing a WrestleMania launch party. This has to mean something.
What? What happened?
This. Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
WrestleMania launch party.
1 week from tomorrow. James Ham going to join us.
Yeah, bring this to the air. I need to know what's going on. I can't wait till after the show.
Well, I had mentioned when you get up to get your snacks that WWE is holding a WrestleMania 39 launch party in Los Angeles.
Wow.
1 week from tomorrow. And I don't ever recall them doing a launch party.
No.
So there's no take a quick look. Like Roman's not. I don't think Roman is there. But hey, does anybody know where The Rock is next Thursday? Do we put the WrestleMania 39 stuff in motion? Like the Usos are there. What if The Rock comes out and beats up the Usos? I don't know. That's painful. Yep.
Well, Jesse, that was you.
you.
That was you that tried to latch onto that one.
There was one thing I wanted to point out with this, because this is just an often repeated line that I find is funny. We just read that old Aisha Curry tweet about "I've lost all respect. Sorry, this is absolutely rigged for money or ratings. I'm not sure which." There are so many. The NBA rigs this so it goes to 7. The NBA's already gotten their television contract.
Yeah, they don't get extra.
They don't get more money. I don't know why people gloss over that. That feels like a really significant detail. They don't get more money if it goes 4 games or 7.
Mm-hmm.
They've already been paid. Why do you think the salary cap goes up every year? They've already gotten the TV money. It's already right there for them. They don't get paid extra.
And so I think at the time,
we got to stop doing that.
At the time, it was almost like the NFL and the CBA. At the time, I think that was like a new TV deal. It wasn't even at the end.
Mm-hmm.
They were at the beginning of the TV deal. No new deal coming anytime soon.
Oh,
yeah, they do it all the time.
Let's get our brother Ramsey in here. Ramsey, what's going on, baby?
What's good, gentlemen? Yeah, just had a couple things. First thing I wanted to touch on was the unfortunate passing of Vin Scully. I just happened to be listening to the Giants game last night. Caught the Giants post-game show on the radio side. They told all their stories. One of the best stories I heard was from Dave Fleming. He was talking about how he met up with Vin. Him and Vin Scully just happened to meet up in the restroom one time.
That's
Scully
always awkward.
Dave, pull up a urinal. I fell out dying laughing. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me, right? But the other thing I wanted to touch on was something that ties into what Jason Reid was talking about. I mean, I've had the privilege of having, not on the NFL level, but the college level, the past few years of watching Arizona State with a black quarterback in Jaden Daniels. Unfortunately, he transferred to LSU, but he's another one that are you going to try to typecast him into running a quarterback when the man is actually a pocket passer. Yeah. He just happens to run and scramble because he has to, or just makes plays because he has to. And I know I haven't had a chance to read the book yet, but I know that's something that Jason Reid was prescribing to in the book, and that's a stigma that has to change with black quarterbacks and quarterbacks in general.
Yeah. I like that quarterback, by the way, at Arizona. I didn't know he went to LSU. I like him. He can play.
Ramsey's driving by Marie's Donuts right now.
As we speak.
Appreciate you, Ramsey.
Big ups to Ramsey. Hey, Dave Fleming and everybody talking about an interaction with Vin Scully in the restroom. I have a restroom story.
Oh, I got one too.
I want to hear yours first.
No. I want yours first. You tease yours first. You go ahead.
So this was a long time. I wasn't KC, Kenny Caraway, D-Lo and KC. Far from that. Didn't even have the athletic show. I was just purely on the sidelines. And we got tickets to go to the NCAA tournament when it was here. And Lonzo Ball, whatever. Somehow, some way, shout out to my guy, Bo, we ended up being in a suite. His uncle or something, yeah, I got some extra tickets for you guys. Didn't even tell us, he had a suite for it. What? So it's crazy, right? So we're there. The Coors lights are flowing. And I have to use the restroom. I got to use the restroom. I go into the restroom. Nobody in there but me and one other person.
Uh-huh.
Vivek Ranadive.
There it is. There it is.
And at the time,
it all makes
I still
sense.
don't have a problem with Vivek, but at the time I wanted to say something like this is awesome. We're talking about the arena and what he did. And I wanted to say thank you at the time. And it just, our paths kind of crossed. It wasn't the right time. And I didn't say anything.
So the urinal was not the right place to thank Vivek for all he's done.
No. I don't talk to people at the urinal.
That is proper etiquette. You are that is what you do. You do not.
I was hoping the washing hands moment would match up, but it just didn't.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a chance to say anything to Uncle V.
Uncle V, Uncle Vivek. That's good stuff. Old Arco, media entrance, was walking in. I was going to an event with Kara, and so she had the run of the place, and that's how we entered the arena at the time. And it was hey, quick stop. Now I don't know if people are familiar with that media entrance. Not like the one right before it shut down, but like when you'd walk in, there'd be like this check-in area, and then off to the left there were a couple of bathrooms, and then just like a hallway that led to some different stuff. It was before the little remodel thing that they did after Vivek bought it. Walk in, go downstairs. Hey, gonna run to the bathroom. Like, you know what? I'll go too. So we go, and then the women's bathroom's right next to the men's bathroom. So she says something, and it's like, I'm looking at her like, all right, cool. I turn, run right into someone whose head is also down. Run right into each other. He kind of puts in, oh, sorry, man. I'm so sorry. Oh, it's all good, man. Sorry. It was Triple H.
What?
And the best part about it is it was Triple H, and it was, I think it was during, I feel like it was the original quad tear, but it was, no, that timeline doesn't add up. But he was injured, like he wasn't on TV.
That's
and
crazy.
it was around the time he was coming back, and ran right smack dab into each other. Oh man, I'm so sorry. Like, it's all good. Like, it's cool. Like,
So two things.
yeah.
Did you talk to him?
No.
Okay.
I just like, it was all good, man. Appreciate you. No problem. And just went to the bathroom.
Number two, what was he doing here?
It was a WWE event. I purposely left that part out.
Okay.
I purposely left that part out. We were at a WWE event.
I'm about to be like, Vivek be bringing him out, boy.
That's where we were going. We were going to we were going in through that entrance to our seats. We stopped off at that old, media area, Arco Arena bathroom, and ran right into Triple H. You're listening to D-Lo and KC on KIFM West Sacramento, KRXQ HD2 Sacramento, ESPN 1320. Driven by Lasher's Elk Grove Dodge, always live on the free Odyssey app. My favorite bathroom story is still Rihanna on the old KSFM days.
That was a classic.
She got lost going to the bathroom that was literally a foot from the door that she just exited, and she walks down this long hall talking about, I couldn't find the door. Like, girl, it's right here. James? Do you have any weird bathroom stories?
Yeah, I do.
Oh boy, let's hear him.
So I'm a big fan of the band Toad the Wet Sprocket, which you guys probably have no idea who that is. No. But years ago, I went to a show at I think it's called The Bottom of the Hill in San Francisco. It's like I don't know, I'd call it a dive bar. Anyway, they have live music and everything's going on, but Glenn Phillips, lead singer for Toad the Wet Sprocket, was actually playing solo, and I went to the bathroom, and there were two urinals next to each other and then a stall, and I started to go to the bathroom. Glenn Phillips comes up and stands right next to me. He starts going to the bathroom, and then this guy comes in, and like you could hear him like, oh my gosh, like behind us. I'm like, this is weird. And Glenn Phillips kind of looks over me. I kind of look at him. I'm like, oh, man, here we go, right? So the guy goes into the stall, and then out of nowhere I hear this, Mr. Phillips? And he looks at me, and he's like, yes? He's like, would you play my wedding? And he looks at me and goes, well, congratulations, man. You getting married? He goes, no, I'm not getting married right now. I just wonder, like, when I get married, will you play at my wedding? And he just looks at me like, maybe. I don't know, man. Just depends, like, when it is, like, years from now, like. And so we're just standing there, and he's looking at me. I'm looking at him. I'm like, this must happen quite often. He's like, yeah, that was my my bathroom story with this celebrity.
People shoot their shot, man. They never know if they're ever going to
Shoot
see
your
him
shot.
again. Like, let me try.
Figuratively, literally, shoot your shot right there.
I feel. You go to the bathroom enough, you get a weird bathroom story. It happens, especially with like the bowels of like old Arco Arena or something like that. You can get some.
Man, the crazy thing is, this don't happen a lot because I don't really like public bathrooms. I'll hold it.
Yeah.
Till I get to the house.
Yeah, I mean, I like even number one.
Yeah, I'll hold it. I'll get to the house. I don't like them, man. I don't like them.
Like I get the other one. Like that's almost mandatory.
Yeah.
But man,
Yeah, that is mandatory.
first one,
That's not even a thought. That ain't happening.
Mine instantly goes to American Pie and the one guy they
Yeah.
call Blank Break.
yeah. Dude, this is the most relatable character in history. Like, yeah, I get it. There's some places you just need to be comfortable.
I'm not saying it never like obviously I do, but I'll try. I'll try to just, wait till I get to the house.
Kenny being in a quadruple overtime game. Bro, you want some water? Nah, no.
What in the world have I stepped into here? What?
Okay.
Oh man, wait, real quick though, because Dr. David in the chat, it was a wild time back in the day, I guess. The double-sided trolley at the Coliseum. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, what do we come on, man. Yo, it was a wild time.
That's a lot. That's too much. Ever been to those clubs where you go to wash your hands and you can see into the other bathroom?
Yeah.
The mix, I believe.
Yeah, the
used to
mix
be
has
that way.
those. That's right.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Whatchamacallit's like that too. I only been there for the brunch, but the park. I saw that when we went to Marshall's going away brunch.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the park.
Right.
Yeah, but that's right. That's right down the street from the mix, right?
Yeah. I had never seen that before. I was like, what?
Yeah. Why?
What's going
are
on
we doing
there?
this?
I swear I didn't know. I didn't know that. I was like, I didn't know. I swear.
Kenny started looking around like, am I the wrong? Wrong. We can get into hell, I don't know, the Kings, I guess. Like, but there's a lot of times we'll lay some things out and like, oh, we'll just transfer this to tomorrow. It's evergreen. It doesn't matter. I'll ask you both this because this isn't really transferable till tomorrow. We've got to leave this subject. But you, Kenny, James, yesterday, Kenny had like this impassioned plea to the San Francisco Giants, and it was posted on social media today, and Kenny was really fired up, and Giants fans around the region were like, yeah, KC, talk that talk. Well, I think your boy Farhan said they actually tried to go get Juan Soto. It's not like they sat on the sidelines for this.
I'm calling Cap.
Okay.
They made a call.
Broadcaster.
They made a call. They didn't really go and try and do it. They never really go and try and get it done. Except for Chris Bryant. They went and tried to get that done. I give them credit for that. But they always kicking the tires on something and nothing ever happens.
Yeah, I don't know what team that sounds like at all. I have no idea what team does that sound like. I'm an A's fan, so I'm just used to like it being the worst day of the year. The trade deadline is the worst day of the year. It's the day where anyone
for half the season is gone.
Yeah, anyone that's remotely good is gone. And we saw Mark Cott say, like, if you're in that position, what do you even say? Like, oh yeah, we really want to build on our July, except for they just gave away your best starting pitcher and like got you no help, and you're stuck with some guys that are no good at all. And they keep running a guy out there every 5 days. Literally, I think his name is Loss. I'm not even sure.
Oh, that's a terrible sports name.
Oh no,
I think it's really Adam Aller, but it rhymes with Loss. I think
that's what they were for. Jay Scrub.
Yeah.
Oh. Did you see my man DeColdis got
he's nice
with an air conditioning company?
DeColdis, he getting them NILs.
He got that NIL with the AC company. That's brilliant. I love it.
Need
Okay.
to change Reese's name to the Bentley. The Phantom. the Rolls Royce.
Man, I don't know, bro. You might want to change it to the electric vehicle. Change Reese's name to the electric vehicle.
To the Model Reese, aka the Model 3, the Model S.
Oh no, Reese don't want the car with the number on it. He only wants the car with the letter. He said that explicitly. Yo, the car with the number is lame. You got to get the car with the letter, Dad. You got to get the S or a Y. Don't get them threes. Them threes is kind of trash. You got to get the S or the Y, Dad. That's what his son said. He was talking about the Tesla. You don't want the car with the number, Dad. You got to get the car with the letters. Like, oh, Reese.
Like, where do you work again?
Reese.
What job you got?
Get you that S series, baby. Proper introduction. James Ham, 1320 Insider, and creator of the Kings Beat. You brought something up months ago that for some reason, I guess in the slowness of the offseason, I thought about today. And it really, I think it was you retweeted some contract notes about Matthew Dellavedova, which we can get into later. Nothing like groundbreaking there, but certainly interesting. But Matthew Dellavedova, like he's got NBA Finals experience. He's got championship experience, and you brought this up once about like Davion Mitchell, and now I think about Mike Brown. You know, obviously the experience he has, championship experiences that he has. It's championship experience. It's in a new place. Does it translate?
I don't know. Like I've been around this team so long that there have been plenty of guys who have come through the door that have, a ring. And I don't think it usually helps. I mean, this Kings franchise has a way of snapping anyone's streak, so like Corey Joseph had made the playoffs in every season. Yeah, that didn't happen. There's a lot of players who have come through who have like streaks or rings. I remember, I think probably the funnest moment, I think that Iman Shumpert brought in his ring, but then Corey Brewer brought in his two NCAA rings, and that was like the big, oh man. I think a lot of people forgot how good that team was with Al Horford and Joakim Noah. I don't think it really. I mean, if you're a winner, you're a winner, but the problem is the Kings are getting typically like the seventh best player on a winning team. They're not getting the number one, the number two. It's one thing to be a winner. It's another thing to be like a 35-minute a game guy on a winner. And they haven't brought that guy in ever. So, I think it's difficult. It's difficult to translate it. And one guy and his playoff experience can't drag everyone else along. That's not the way that it works. You have to have a team that's functioning right. And again, I think if they were to get a number one player even if it was like 2 years later or something, if they were to get a number one player on a championship team or a number two player, maybe that would have a little bit more impact. But that's because they're actually putting up big numbers and actually helping you get there. And that's not usually the case.
Well, James, I would also say like, the team when these guys would come in, the Sacramento Kings, I don't think they were like built to receive the championship guidance, if that makes any sense, right? Like you had a bunch of guys that just they weren't worried about that. They're like, oh, Sacramento's not going to happen. Let me get mine. Let me handle my business so I can get paid, or I can look good, put some good film together so I can move on to the next spot. Like I feel, and I don't know if Matthew Dellavedova will be this, but like I feel if you put that fifth or sixth best guy on a championship team onto this particular squad, I feel like it'd be a little more beneficial, even if like the production is actually the same as it would be with in years past, like Corey Joseph or something like that. I think this particular team, just a feeling I get, just a vibe, they seem a little more locked into the task at hand. Does that make sense? What I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I think so. But again, like I'll give you the example. Like Marco Bellinelli came to the Sacramento Kings 2 years after he won a ring with the Spurs. That didn't mean anything. Actually, I like of all of the free agents that have come through, he's the one that complained the most and didn't
Yeah.
like his lot and light the most. I mean, he complained all the time about Darren Collison didn't make as good a pass to him as Rajon Rondo.
Right. I was about to say Marco is one of those guys I was talking about that had his own agenda when he came
Yeah.
in.
Well, certainly, and he got paid too. I think that was the biggest thing. He got paid, and then George Karl had some weird idea about giving Bellinelli like this really really long leash and telling him to go out there and try to become a natural scorer, not a natural shooter, and that was just a mess. The whole thing was a mess. But yeah, I think it's really hard for like again a role player to come in and like this is who we are, this is what we're doing, because then it becomes like Rico Hines stacking days type deal. It's like you can sit there and have this mantra of stacking days, but as soon as like one day falls over and a second day falls over and you stop stacking days, it becomes like this panic mode for this team. And as opposed to doing the easy thing and just trying to get back on the winning path, they're usually going for home runs, and it just snowballs out of control very quickly. So, yeah, I think it's really hard. I would like to test the theory. I would like to see the Kings go get somebody that's like really, really good on a great team and see how they fit and see how they fix things. But even like a guy like Sabonis, I mean, he's got 2 All-Stars, appearances, but he's barely made the playoffs. He hasn't played on high-level playoff teams. He's played on a lot of bad teams, in fact. So you're kind of like you're trying to get there with a group of guys that haven't been there, and especially the main guys haven't been there.
And you're really makes me think you're really relying on Mike to do that. You're really relying on Mike Brown to be that guy who kind of brings this all together and speaks of his experiences in the locker room with guys.
Yeah, I think that again, the biggest thing with Mike is that he's opening up the first year of it's probably a 4-year contract. We still haven't got the contract sort of ingredients yet. That's kind of strange. And I hadn't even thought about it. But he's starting out coming from a great place, coming from, a championship win, 3 championships in 6 years, a huge win percentage, but he's coming to the team, I think, at the right moment for him and also probably the right moment for the Kings. The Kings have more talent now than they have in almost any year that I've ever covered. There might be 1 or 2 years where I would go, okay, that team was really good and underachieved. But this one specifically, this team, it just has a lot of the right pieces. And so I want to see what he can do with, again, players are going to be all gung-ho and behind a coach in year 1, no matter what. Mm-hmm. It's year 2, it's year 3, it's year 4. You have to start winning at some point to get everyone to keep following you. And the Kings never, ever happen. That never happens for the Kings. They never have somebody that they're able to get behind and follow because they don't seem to string together seasons. The only time was when Yeager left, and they won 39 games that year. And if they would have held on to him, they probably would have built off of that, and they probably would have been just fine. But they didn't. And so you're always waiting for that next shoe to drop with this group.
James, do you, talking about this particular roster, this Kings roster, and looking to this season, do you think that we maybe overvalue or romanticize the time that Sabonis and Fox played together last year? Because there was an article in the Athletic talking about the time with the Kings weren't very good when Sabonis came over. And in my head, I was like, I don't think they were great, but when Fox and Sabonis played, they were cool. And then we look at the numbers, and I think they went 4-9 in the 13 games they played together. Is that something that we kind of just gloss over, the fact that even when they were on the court together, the record at least still wasn't that good?
Well, I mean, I would like to put it on them, but I thought they were both exceptional, and I thought they were exceptional together. You know, like not to just throw shade, but I thought some of the other guys weren't good at all. You know, we sat there and waited for this mythical beast that could knock down 3-pointers in Justin Holiday, and it never arrived. I think he hit a couple of threes in his last 2 games, and it made his 3-point percentage look much better. But you also were waiting for Dante DiVincenzo to find his stroke. You're just kind of, even Trey Lyles didn't shoot the ball that well with the Kings. And so the guys that they put around them, it was tough, especially when you're moving away from a guy like Tyrese Halliburton and Buddy Hield. You have to remember how much those guys played. They played a ton. And so when you totally, you know, disrupt everything mid-season, and you do a couple of major deals, but you're definitely giving up pieces from your rotation to go get a much better player, but it's, you know, you're not doing balanced deals. So the Kings lost more rotational players than they got back. They got a better rotational player, but they lost more rotational players. And when you're thin already, that doesn't help. And so I would have liked to have seen it play out. I wish they would have been able to play the whole, 27 games or whatever it was together. That would have been good. But, you know, it doesn't happen that way all the time. And so I think we're going to see a really, really good combination of 2 players that are just about to enter their prime. Both of them have a lot riding on this season and next season as well. And they're guys that, you know, have a tremendous amount of talent. They're kind of that level that if they really crank it up early in the season and the team is winning, you could see one or even both of them making their first, making Fox would be his first All-Star game, or for Sabonis, it'd be making his 3rd All-Star game. They have that potential without any question at all. It's just whether they can put it together and they can start winning. And I think that's, you know, what will define this early part of the season and what will define, you know, both of their careers here in Sacramento. Can you be the 2 guys that get this team over the hump?
What's the biggest strength? What do you think is the biggest strength of this Kings team as it stands right now?
First of all, shooting. Like, they're a bad shooting team last year, but when you add, 3 guys that are all, 38 to 42% shooters from 3, that's tremendous. And the Kings had shooters, again, Halliburton and Buddy Hield were both good 3-point shooters. But these guys are more within the flow of the offense type shooters. And so I'm intrigued to see what that looks like. I think outside of that, I think probably 1 through 8, they are really solid. It's all rotational NBA players that would play on, 90% of the teams in the league would be in the rotation. And that hasn't been the case. I mean,
oh no.
There it is.
Oh, I froze?
Ham! Oh, there you are.
You know why? Because I forgot to shut off the Wi-Fi. So the Wi-Fi and the hardwire are going at the same time. That's the first time.
That's all right. It happens.
That's all right. That's all
right.
I've done that a time or 2 also. You can shut the Wi-Fi off when we go to commercial because you'll just have to reset the browser. But it's all good. You're back here. You're moving. Everything's fine. And I do secretly think that the viewers on YouTube and Twitch secretly love Frozen Ham. Doesn't do much for the Odyssey and 1320 AM audience, but for everybody else, I think they get a kick out of Frozen Ham. There you go. James is gone. James is out of here. He's just flat out gone. I told you could have turned everything off after the Jason Reid interview because we all knew it was going to go a certain way. We know what time it is. We knew our show.
Oh man!
James will be back with us any second. It's tough. Like when you ask questions about the strengths of the Sacramento Kings, it shuts down the internet.
That's just overwhelms everything. Like what cannot compute.
Try to say nice things about the Kings and the internet just goes too much bandwidth, bro. Calm down, man. You ain't got that gigabyte package. Chill.
Oh man. While we wait for James to come back, let me tell you, you know what I watched last night? Like they came out of nowhere that I was like, yo, We're gonna do a show on this on Corners of the Culture. The Boondocks.
Oh yeah.
Boondocks. Or did you just like it, or were you a huge Boondocks fan? Because I'm
No,
huge Boondocks fan.
So I didn't watch it. I saw it. You know what I mean? Like I don't even know that I've ever seen like consecutive episodes. Like I've seen it, like, yo, what's all this about? Watch it, like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. And then leave it, walk away from it, don't think about it again.
Faithfully while it was on, like,
okay,
watching it every week. And it was hilarious. It was insightful. It was a little bit of a mirror. It was that I love the Boondocks. And I saw some random episode last night, and I was like, damn, this was the show.
I might have to I might have to work one or two of those in a day. I'm trying to get caught up on old shows, like we talking about Sanford and Son, trying to catch up on just stuff that I've never like watched through before, you know, what is it, September 5th or whatever gets here, and we're off into football and, you know, game day and Corners of the Culture, and then King's season is going to be here, and then like
no time for anything.
I won't see a TV show for 6 or 7 months. So
no time for anything. But yeah, we gotta figure out who's gonna be on that episode with us. I think we need to bring somebody for the TV episode, this black sitcom episode.
Yeah, we need to start thinking about guests for that podcast for sure. Ones whose internet doesn't drop out for a stunningly long time, because James' whole computer must have shut down, because I'm thinking, oh, James will be back in like two minutes. It'll be fine. Apparently not. James probably had to like climb to the roof and hit the reset button on the entire internet in his area.
Well, let me ask you the question you asked James Ham. What do you think is the Kings' best attribute? Like, what are they best at?
What are they best at, or what do I hope they're best at?
What do you hope they're best at?
I think they're going to be able to score, and it probably that's probably a take on what, you know, James was talking about right there in terms of their shooting. Like, we scream that they've got to improve the shooting around De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis, and I absolutely think that they were able to do that. But if you can get everybody playing on the same page, where I think they'll be able to get up and down the floor a little bit. You know, I don't know how that fits into the way that Mike Brown wants to play defense, because getting up and down the floor like that's going to take your toll.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take a toll on you, and it's going to take your toll. It's going to take a toll on you on the defensive end. I'm not sure that's a sacrifice Mike Brown is willing to make, but I think they're going to be fluid and efficient offensively. Mm-hmm. I feel like, with absolutely no evidence to support this, they're on the same page. Like, everybody understands what the goal is for the season. Everybody, I feel like Mike Brown has probably already established goals offensively and goals defensively, and there's no way you could possibly say their biggest strength is the defensive end or a defensive player, because that's just being disingenuous with yourself. It has to be something on the offensive end, and it's the fact that I think they're going to be able to be pretty efficient over there.
There's no evidence to support this either, but it's just a feeling of mine. I think they're going to be really potent in transition, and I think they're going to look to get out to run. And I say there's no evidence of that because that is contradictory to what we've seen from Mike Brown teams in the past. As James is back here on D-Lo and KC here.
Speculated whether you had to climb up to your roof and hit the reset button on the internet modem for the entire community.
Yeah, that was a bad one. That was a shock to the system there. I couldn't even get the hardwire to work.
We've been there. We've done that. It happens to the best of us. But James, I was just telling Damian, contrary to what we've seen from Mike Brown in his coaching career in his past, I actually think this Kings team is going to be pretty potent in the open court. And I think they're going to look to run more than maybe Mike Brown teams in the past. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can't be around Steve Kerr for 6 years and not start to pick up some of that offensive flow. And I think that's huge. You know, the Warriors always have a great flow to their offense. They get the ball up and down the court really quickly. You know, and I think it's funny, we see it all the time. Someone in a Corvette driving 55 in the fast lane, and they think just because they got a fast car that they can drive in the fast lane, even though they're not driving fast. Like that's kind of what the Kings can't. You can't have De'Aaron Fox and keep saying he's the fastest guard in the league, and then not use his speed. I mean, that would be absolutely crazy. So I'm hoping that we see a good mixture, and I think, having Alvin Gentry stick around is actually a good thing in that regard, because Alvin is a guy who's been known for his offensive capabilities, who pushes the tempo and stuff like that, and there will be conversations, like on coaching theory behind the scenes all the time, and Jay Triano will be there, and like there's going to be a lot of like chefs in the kitchen, but at the same time, it's Mike Brown's show. I think people will be pushing, hey, we gotta up the tempo.
I think Mike Brown is secure enough for that. Some coaches aren't. I think Mike Brown is secure enough to go to Alvin and say, hey, what do you think about this? Or can you give me your insight on this?
Yeah, and I think the other thing he'll keep telling the other coaches is, well, if they don't play defense, we're going to slow down even further. So we're going to see some give and take, and he's going to demand that they play defense. And that's where, guys, again, if you don't want to play defense, then there's a couple players on this roster that are they're gonna steal your minutes. Davion will steal your minutes. Even a guy like KZ Okpala, he's a guy, or Chima Moneki. These guys play defense, so they can't be defensive game changers for a team if they aren't playing. But if the other guys don't want to play defense, they're certainly going to have guys that can step in and actually fill a role. And, I think that's what makes it, like, if we're breaking down, like, who's going to start and who's going to come off the bench, that's why, like, Kevin Huerter makes so much more sense than Malik Monk with the starters. And because he's a better defensive player, he's a bigger, better defensive player. And then, to have Monk with Davion Mitchell, who's a better defender than De'Aaron Fox, at least at this stage. Those are things where I think you can mix and match this team a little bit differently. Then you were asking, like, what are some of the good things about this team? I think they are versatile. They've got a lot of players that can play different positions and do different things. And that's a good thing. Versatility is huge in the NBA at this point.
So we've talked about the biggest strengths for the Kings. We'll discuss the biggest weaknesses next. Another injury. 49ers tight end Jordan Matthews.
Poor guy.
Tore his ACL. Happened on a route non-contact early in Monday's session. ACL was confirmed today, and Jordan Matthews obviously out for the season for the San Francisco 49ers. We'll come back more with James Ham here on ESPN 1320.
That's too bad. I like Jordan Matthews. Wide receiver, converted.
Yeah.
To make it. I was trying to make it. Hey, I got a question. It's pretty random.
With the Eagles? Sorry, go ahead.
Well, he was with the Eagles. Yeah. I'm watching Senior League Softball World Series. This is like middle school kids on ESPN Plus. Why do we still have softball? Like, why don't the girls play baseball?
You know what, like
a different sport.
Yeah, and I'll say this, like, playing softball, like, to continue playing baseball as a softball player, because I played for like 19 years of softball, and I played Little League and I played big leagues, and I didn't play high school, but I did play during high school. I played like American Legion basically. But softball, the ball just goes slower. There's not as many injuries. The pace of the game is different. Everything else. As far as why girls play softball and not baseball, I don't know, because a girl's softball is even smaller than a man's softball. And if you've ever played co-ed, that's the strangest thing of all time. You go fill a hot grounder at third base. First of all, it rattles in your glove, and then you go to grip it and you throw a haymaker to first because the ball's way smaller and it slips out of your hand. Yeah. So yeah, they switch out between pitches. Between batters. Yeah.
Rich, I agree with you. Because I like softball. I was just curious. I'd love a professional women's softball league. I enjoy watching like the college World Series, the softball college World Series. Like, I get into that. And those girls be playing. I'd love to see a professional league. I just didn't like. I wonder, like, where did this even come from? Like, why did this start? Why haven't we changed? Like, why don't they play girls baseball in high school or little league? I don't know.
Yeah, and I know women's softball. The field is so much smaller. You're so much closer to home plate, so it's not like it's that much different. You know, you're not running 90 feet to first base at all.
It's just
it's
things
super
that
close.
come out every now and then. Blame it on me being the only child.
Okay. Well, I guess that's what we will do. Did she bring? Did the Queen Bee bring you some food? What'd she bring you? Some French fries?
No, she just brought me this surprise.
Yeah, with the class.
I'll text it to you.
Now everyone's wondering.
I need to know what this is. I need to know what it is.
Nuts. That is nuts.
Oh, man. I'm still bugging out that Ben announced on the show he's having his second baby.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Oh, I miss this.
we was talking like 2 days ago. Ben, our buddy who handles all of the McQueen and Luke Belair stuff.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, I got you. All right. Sometimes I dream that he is me. Oh, see. Ham's not in the loop. I'll text it to Ham. I'll text it.
No, yeah, I'm trying to get my Damian Barling on.
Okay,
There was
calm
other things going on too. I was like, wait a minute, this thing what we doing?
I'm gonna be honest. This is news to me. You didn't even tell me that it was that it was that far wrong.
Look, we didn't even know that. That's why there's this perplexed look there. Like, what's going on?
Oh, is this the original?
Yeah,
That Jazz was. Oh, wow, good for you.
Maybe. We started opening up the search a little bit to look at other things. And we're like, oh, okay.
Hey, Queen Bee gets shit done. Queen Bee gets stuff done. Let's go.
Nice.
Literally, we weren't even sure.
Oh, we're back. Sorry.
What's happening.
A hell of a day over here on D-Lo and KC, boy. I tell you, we just getting breaking news left and right. Breaking news behind the scenes that you got to tune in for. Shout out to our man Black Bottles 916, who announced a new addition to the family on the way. It's D-Lo.
That's awesome.
Brought to you by McQueen and the Violet Fog, the smoothest gin in the world, handcrafted in Brazil. James Ham here with us, our 1320 Kings insider and creator of the Kings Beat. Kings content all year long, baby. We've got you covered. Real quick, before because I just asked you, we were just talking about some of the strengths that we think the Kings will have headed into the season. We'll get to the weaknesses, but you found an interesting note on Matthew Dellavedova's contract that's might be worth passing along.
Yeah, he's on a 1-year deal, but it's non-guaranteed. And if he makes the opening roster, then he gets a $250,000 guarantee. And then the remaining, because of his years of service, I think it's like $2.63 million. It doesn't become guaranteed until January 7th, when the NBA, like, there's a mandate, a drop dead date. If you haven't been cut by January 7th, then your contract is guaranteed for the rest of the year. So that $250,000, like, that's a big number to make the opening day roster. But it's something that we saw with Chima Moneke as well. He gets a $250,000 bonus just to show up to camp, and then if he makes the opening day roster, that jumps to $500,000. But his contract is only set at $1 million because he's a rookie. He's a league minimum, rookie at $1.003 million or whatever it is. And then I checked in with Casey Okpala, and I know he's got a 2-year deal, but I'm thinking it's probably similar. From what I've heard, it's similar to what Chima Moneki got, which is kind of like what you saw with Chimezi Metu's deal as well. So yeah, they're non-guaranteed or partially guaranteed contracts.
In the case of Dellavedova, what do you think would need that? Like I'm looking at him and see he's going to be on the opening night roster. How would that not be the case, in your opinion?
Well, I think there's a lot of ways. Yeah, there's a lot of ways he's not on the roster, to be honest with you. Number one, someone else could cut somebody who's better. I mean, and someone could become available. Number two, you could make a trade between now and then and eat up roster spots, eat up a third guard position. There's a third point guard position. There's a lot of ways in which it could happen. The other thing is he shows up and he might be in tremendous shape. He might, look okay, but he also might not look like an NBA player. And I mean, he's a guy who hasn't played in the NBA in a year, but even when he did play, I think it's 118 games over his previous 4 seasons. So, I mean, that's nothing. He hasn't hardly played in 4 years, not at least enough to get you on the ground, get you out there. And, there are other players that they could have looked at. I think what they're kind of bringing him in is as a leader, as a guy who knows Mike Brown's system, who, was on Mike's team in Cleveland, and just really a guy who can kind of steady the ship and be a professional. And if he's not going to play, he's not going to cause problems. He knows what the score is. He knows where he's at in his career. And if he got an opportunity to play, he's going to be ready, but it's more likely not, even if he is healthy and ready to roll, he's going to struggle to get on the court because you got 2 heavy minutes eaters in front of him in De'Aaron and Davion. And so he's just kind of a breaking case of emergency. But again, I think he's got to show that he's still an NBA player.
We discussed what we think the biggest strengths for the Sacramento Kings team will be. Not surprisingly, we were all leaning heavily towards the offensive end and various versions of what they can do offensively. Biggest weakness for the team headed into this season as it stands right now.
Okay, so before we do that, I'm going to say the other strength that I think this team has is rebounding. I forgot to mention that. I just, Keegan Murray's a very good rebounder.
Okay.
Domantas Sabonis is a star level rebounder, and I think if Harrison Barnes is still your 3, he's a guy who's averaged over 6 rebounds a game from the small forward spot. So I think you'll be a good rebounding team, which helps your defense as well. When it comes to the weaknesses, clearly, this team added a bunch of offensive weapons, and I don't think they added what I would consider a plus defender at any position. Whether they average, they brought in league average defenders. I think you could say that about Herter. And certainly you could say Herter is a better defender than what you had last year in Tyrese Halliburton and Buddy Hield at the 2. But if you look at Keegan Murray, I mean, as a rookie, he's going to be a league average defender at best. I mean, there's a possibility he can be better than that, but I still don't even look at him as like a plus defender or what you consider a lockdown defender. So your improvement is going to come off of schemes and coaching. And that's a lot to ask Mike Brown to convert the 27th worst defense into maybe a top 15 defense, because that's how you're going to get to the playoffs. If you can make this a top 15 defense and you can be a top 10, 12, 13 offense, then this is a playoff team. And that's asking a lot when you really didn't bring in anyone that can be a defensive game changer for this team. And I think that's why we're hearing a lot about the possibility of Rashawn Holmes playing a lot alongside Sabonis, because Holmes is a good defender, or at one time he wasn't so great last year, but the years before that he was a very good defender. He's a big that can defend the perimeter, stick with smaller guys. He's good in the pick and roll. He averaged 1.6 blocks per game 2 years ago. That's a guy that you could actually see having an impact on the defensive end, and that's why he might actually get some minutes as well.
James, don't you think that, because I know a lot of people say that it can't happen. I think they absolutely can get to 15, 16, 17 defensively. because you're talking about guys who their strength isn't defense. But I don't think, just look at the starting lineup. I don't think they're inept offensive or defensively. I don't think they're just blindfolded a cigarette. These are guys that if you combine the fact that they stay focused on what they're supposed to do on the defensive end, plus Mike Brown and his coaching staff come up with the correct scheme to kind of mask some things if they have to, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility they can get to 15, 16, 17 defensive ranking in this league.
Well, I mean, that's a huge leap, though, especially if you didn't bring in defensive players.
Well, I'll say that it might be a huge leap with the guys they have when you're running out Trey Lyles, Buddy Hield, Tyrese Halliburton. Yeah, it's a leap to bring those guys from nothing to something. But I think with the guys they brought in, like I said, not defensive stalwarts, but I don't think they're inept on the defensive end. I think if you get them buying into a team defensive system, in a certain system and the guidance of a guy like Mike Brown, I don't think with these guys they have, it's not that much to ask.
Yeah, when I was breaking down the rotation for this afternoon and I put out like where they're at today, I think the biggest problem that Mike Brown has is, his strength is going to be his top 4 guards. One of his strengths. I mean, you got Sabonis, who's a major strength. You got 2, pretty solid, good wings, but then your backcourt where you're looking at Fox and Davion and Herter and Monk, like those guys need more than 96 minutes. So they're going to be moving into that small forward range too, which will take Harrison Barnes and push him over to playing some 4. So you could actually see some interesting things that work, or maybe they don't work. I mean, we'll have to wait to see how it all plays out. But when you do that, you're going to be playing smaller, and you're going to be playing sort of you're sort of catering your whole entire team to the offensive end, because that's where you would you're going to excel because you're playing like smaller, quicker, guard heavy lineups. So I think there will be a lot of 3 guard sets and things like that. And I'll also say, look, if you don't have to be a top 15 defense, but it really comes down to like the difference between your offense and your defense. You have to know how to get stops when you need to get stops. But, if you can average 122 points a game and you're just a spectacular offensive team, and somehow your defensive rating isn't great, but you're holding teams to 119 points per game, and that would be like, oh man, that's a lot of points. You're going to win more games because you're running a +3. So like even like the Kings of the early 2000s, they didn't have great defensive players, but what they did have is a bunch of players that understood that they had to score X amount of points and they had to hold their opponents to a certain amount of points in order for them to be successful. And, it's hard to cover up for, a Vlade Divac, a Mike Bibby on the defensive end. And you're throwing, even Chris Webber was an okay defender. Peja Stojakovic was an okay defender, but that team was really built around Doug Christie being your defensive guy, and then Scott Pollard off the bench as a big defensive guy. You got to find a way for your team to play good team defense. And I think that if there's one thing that I'll just keep harping on is last season's Golden State Warriors. I mean, the fact that they're number 1 or number 2 in the league, depending on where you're looking for rating, I mean, that's just incredible with some of the players that they had. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they don't have a natural shot blocker, and they don't have this absolute lockdown front line guard defender outside of Gary Payton, who's playing off the bench and playing 20 minutes a game. Wiggins was great defensively, but again, he got better as the season went on. Draymond missed so many games. Clay was coming back after missing almost 1,000 days, and Steph Curry is 33 years old and has never been known as a great defender. He's just progressively gotten better and better and knows how to, hide. Mm-hmm. But Mike Brown is going to have to do a lot of that. And it's not as easy when you got a bunch of new pieces playing together for the first time. But also that you got a bunch of guys who, throughout their careers have not been known as good defensive players. You're asking a lot from Mike Brown.
You broke down, James, the Kings depth chart on your latest article for the Kings Beat. What is the Kings, like, taking it all into account? What's the Kings' best position? Where are they the deepest?
It's the same place that they've been deepest. I think the last couple of years, they're deep at point guard, and I think guard in general, and they're deep at center. And then after that, I don't mind their power forward depth, but there's a big difference between, again, you guys mentioned Trey Lyles, but Chimezi Metu, neither one of those guys are outstanding defensive players. One of them is a super strong guy. One of them is a super athletic guy. Neither one of them actually functionally work for large minutes. I think you're going to be a little bit better there because you have a guy who's more versatile in Keegan Murray that doesn't make the mistakes. And, I think the other thing is that, like, getting back to some of the guys that Harrison Barnes just has to be better. I mean, that's, the defensive metrics are just stunning what happened to him last year. And it's partially because he's playing with bad defensive players. But, I mean, he was, like, ranked, like, in the bottom 12% of the league in defensive players overall. And that just can't happen if he's going to be there playing major minutes.
Mm-hmm. At first, when that question was brought up, first thing I thought was shooting guard. If you want to get specific to the position, you talk about. I put Herter in there too. That's why I feel shooting guard. I know he's a 2-3 situation, but probably in a perfect world, like if you had a 3 that you loved on the Kings roster, you'd probably put Herter at the 2. So when you look at Herter, Monk, and Terrence Davis, I like their depth at the shooting guard position.
No, I think their depth at shooting guard position is really good as well. I mean, I'm totally in agreement with you, especially since, Fox is going to play a bunch of shooting guard because him and Davion are going to. There's no way Davion's not going to play like 25 to 30 minutes per game. So if you just put him at 28 and you put Fox at 35, you're already running out of minutes. That's the problem. You're already down to like 30 minutes total, and you still have Monk and Herter. And Herter's going to play 30 minutes a game. Mm-hmm. So where are you going to get those other 25 minutes or even more for Monk? So, again, I think, unfortunately, I think Terrence Davis is probably going to get a raw deal, and he's not going to get to play that often just because that's kind of the construction of the team at this point. But, yeah, I mean, I like the shooting guard position, and those guys are going to have to play the 3. However that goes, somebody is going to have to play the 3 out of that mix a good percentage of the time.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned the center position also. Obviously, that Sabonis and Rashawn Holmes here. Is Alex Len just another one, almost like Matthew Dellavedova, in the sense of you're not going to need him a lot, but if you do, it's okay to have him here.
Yeah, my problem with Len, and I've always liked Len. I think he's a good dude. He's got a lot going on off the court with the Ukraine stuff happening still. But his problem that I've always had is that he struggles to stay healthy, and then he also takes a ton of time to get back when he is healthy or ill. Mm-hmm. And that's a problem. So if he's not playing regular rotational minutes and keeping fresh and keeping engaged and keeping fully ready to go on the court, he's not like a break glass in case of emergency type guy. You almost have to ramp him up in a different way than you do most players. At least that's what I've seen even during his 2 stops in Sacramento. He gets hurt and then he comes back, but then he's got this resume, something to conditioning. Like he's got to get back in condition to get back to basketball shape. And it usually takes him longer than most players. And that's a problem if he's not going to be playing every night. So I actually think that Neemias Queta will actually have a bigger role on this Sacramento Kings team than Alex Len will. And, Alex Len is on a 1-year, $4 million deal. What's that?
I'm with that. I love Neemias Queta.
Yeah.
I want to see more of him out there.
Yeah, I mean, he's he can be up for 50 games this year. So I think that there's plenty of opportunity for him to be up. And I even think that there's a possibility that after we get past the trade deadline, that's usually when you look at a guy like that and you lock him into a longer term deal and you set him up so you have him under contract going forward. And you don't have to worry about, another 2-way which that's going to be really difficult to do. But I think Keita is one of those guys who's going to be ready. He's going to be playing plenty down in Stockton. And then, so where you got a big guy in Alex Len who might not be playing and is going to have a tough time coming back and getting on the court for spot duty. I think that's where you're going to say, okay, it's possibility tonight that we could be without Rashawn Holmes or Domantas Sabonis for like 3 games. Can we get Len ready in time, or do we just pull up Keita? And that's where I think Keita will actually get some burn this year.
I don't know, man. I look at Keita and I'm like, I'm so torn because I feel like he needs more work, but there's another part of me that says, just, hey, throw the baby into the deep, not baby, you know what I mean, but throw him into the deep end of the water.
Baby's in the water. You heard it right here.
Have you seen? I know you've seen that before, right?
Oh, that's crazy.
I saw one of those the other day, and I said, no, there's no way. But the baby comes up, paddling, everything's good.
That is just so
just
to see.
I said,
They just take these babies and toss them in the water. Baby's first day of floating. Oh my God, what are you doing? Yeah, it's like, and that's got to be like those parents, like third kid. They're not throwing their first baby out there like, no, we can swim.
Terrifying.
You're very different. You're very different with water and your second child. We took ours because we were around the water so much. We took our youngest to a lady up here who does Swim to Live, which is a way to teach babies, little ones, how to swim. But even that, I think he was over 1. He might have even been 2. And then she can get him to swim like 4 15-minute sessions in a week, and boom, he swims. Yeah, she's good.
Yeah.
I don't know. These social media videos are terrifying.
They need to stop this. I know they've been doing it for a lifetime, but no.
Now we know where it came from. Kenny just grabs babies and throws them in the water.
Reese was never thrown into the water. I was holding on to the Bentley. I was holding on to him.
The Bentley.
That's awesome.
The Bentley Caraway. NIL, if you're listening. The Bentley Caraway.
Yeah. But all that to say.
So to get
part of me says put Kate out there and just let him learn on the fly, man. Let him learn in the NBA.
And I'll keep saying this. Keita is the closest player the Kings have to a Sabonis. Like, I don't mean skill level wise, I mean his skill set. And so if you're gonna lose Sabonis for any length of time, who is gonna be such a major hub in your offensive scheme, you almost have to replace him and give Keita an opportunity, because neither Lynn nor Rashawn Holmes are passing big men, and they're not guys you can run the offense through. And Keita just runs around and sets mean picks and rolls to the basket. And if I'm the Kings, he's doing nothing but running the offense in Stockton. He is like, they're feeding him like he's Nikola Jokic every single play, and letting him play make for his teammates, and let him develop that passing skill, because it's there. And if you can get it fully there, then, I think he can help out if you do lose Sabonis for any length of time.
Is he the player with the best chance for long-term development?
Yeah, well, no, I mean, I really like Keon Ellis too.
Okay, that was the other one I was thinking.
Yeah. I mean, I dig Keon Ellis, and again, like, the Kings are up to 17 roster spots, which includes their two-way players. So their roster is technically, if you were to walk in a regular season, is full, but during summer you can have up to 20. So we might see 3 more guys get added for training camp, Exhibit 10 contracts, or non-guaranteed or slightly guaranteed contracts. So they could still add up to 3 more players. So like a Sean McDermott or someone like that, Frankie Ferrari, someone like that could still get added to the Kings.
Man, I want McDermott on the squad.
Yeah.
Can someone confirm? Is it Sean McDermott is the name of the coach of the? Is it the Bills?
Creighton. Oh, football.
Isn't his name Sean McDermott?
Yeah, I think it is Bills. Yeah.
Okay. I just want, every time we kept saying his name, like, man, that the coach of the Bills? It is.
Yeah.
I love that this is the scholarship Caraway. We appreciate you guys so much for being with us. Thanks to James Ham for being with us. Thanks to Jason Reid for being with us. Check out his book, Rise of the Black Quarterback. If you missed that conversation, you can check it out on our podcast, wherever you get podcasts from. Just search D'Lo and KC. Become a subscriber over there. You can check it out on YouTube and Twitch as well. And make sure that you're back here with us tomorrow at noon on ESPN 1320.
Shout out to the EV Caraway.
Oh, man. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Oh, this Canada team is just falling apart.
The Rolls Royce Caraway.
Put it on a shirt.
The Bentley Caraway is funny.
That's funny. Sweet. Well, it's starting to get warm in here.
Yeah, we love you guys, but we're leaving. We're exhausted. I know Kenny and I both had meetings before today's show, so yeah, we're just leaving. We love you guys to death, but we're leaving. We'll see you tomorrow at noon.